Yo, what's up, fool? This is your boy Othree. Welcome back to Platicas. This is Platica number 22, I believe. Here with my boy Christian Rhymes. Uh,
What's happening?
bef-
What's happening?
Before I let you introduce yourselves, just a reminder to everybody. Um, Platicas, we're here to tell stories. I get to tell my story, but I invite people to come and tell their stories. So we're here to learn more about my boy Christian Rhymes. You want to hear his story? But introduce yourself real quick, dog. Let me fix my camera.
Oh, you straight, you straight. What's up, everyone? My name's Christian. I go by Christian Rhymes. That's my rap name. I was Angelino born, raised in Nevada. Made it back to West LA, and here I am, bro, doing this fucking podcast with the homie O3. What's up, bro?
You said you're from LA and Nevada, dog. We
Yeah.
met a couple years ago, right?
Mhm.
We've been kicking it together, dog. We just dropped a song together. We'll talk about music later on in the podcast. But in order to tell your story, right? Because sometimes our story starts before we're even here, right? Where does your story begin? Like, where are your roots? Like, where's your family from?
So my family all comes from Jalisco. So my dad was from Guadalajara, Jalisco, born and raised out there. He ended up going to Ameca, and that's Ameca, Jalisco, where he met my mom. Like later on in his life, probably like 15, 16 years old. Um, but yeah, all my family comes from Jalisco, Mexico, bro. We're all from out there, and then we got some history in LA, and then I got a bunch of fam in Nevada too.
Jalisco, right? Have you ever been to Jalisco?
Yeah, bro, for sure. It's crazy when I left LA like as a little fucking kid, bro, little toddler. Part of my life I actually grew up out there, like right before we came back to like the States and shit. So I got to probably be out there like at the age of 2, 3 or some shit, you know what I mean? Little fucking travieso ass fool. Just getting into trouble and stuff.
Hello, chamaco ass fool. What?
Hell yeah, I'm cool.
Speaking of your family, right? So you say your dad met your mom when he was like in his teens.
Yeah.
Is there any story that they like to share or they shared with you that you would like to share with us, based on how they met or how times were back in the day? Because it was a different life, fool. It was a different life. It is a different life out there. I don't know how much your part of Mexico has developed over time. You know the stories, you know what I'm saying? I'm not saying that
Come on.
Mexico is underdeveloped, but we know how it is out there. Is there anything
Come
you
on.
would like to share about that part of the region of the country where your family's from?
I mean, traditional stuff. I mean, like my family out there all has like menuderias and shit. It started with my dad's mom in 1990. She opened up the first menuderia Rosa. And from there it kind of branched off, from like her kids that stayed out there. My dad meeting my mom when they were like in high school, is like kind of like a crazy story. They pretty much like got separated because my mom ended up coming to the States when she was like 14, 15 years old. Due to the like, a whole bunch of it's a pretty long story, bro, but it's crazy, bro. Like pretty much my mom's like pops like dipped out on them. And he pretty much like sold their like crib and shit. And he kind of like fucked up the family, you know what I mean? Like they didn't really have nowhere to go and this and that. And a couple of my mom's brothers came out here to the States and talking to like my mom, my grandma, on that side they my grandma came out here like looking for her oldest kids, the ones
Mm.
that came out here and eventually kind of like made everybody else like head over here, to LA. This is where like the first spot they came out to. Um, and it was just crazy, bro. It's crazy fucking times because in that, at that time it was in the 80s, you know what I mean? This was like it was like the peak of gangbang, bro. A lot of shit going down, you know what I mean? So everybody coming out here all chamaco and shit, obviously, a lot of like my uncles and shit started getting in trouble. My mom was coming out here to school and shit. She was going to like Hamilton at the time. Um, and my dad, bro, he didn't want to be without my mom, so he made the fucking trip out here to the States. He came looking for his girl, bro. He said, "I'm in love, man. I'm not gonna let her go."
Oh,
Um,
what romantic story right there, dog.
yeah, yeah,
Romantic
for
story.
sure. And it's crazy too, because asking him about it and shit, it's like, well, how the fuck did you even find her? I know you guys kind of like wrote letters and shit like that. But one day I think he said he showed up and he used a payphone to call like her crib. And my uncle, so her oldest brother, like picked up and shit. He's like, nah, she don't live here. So this was like, he's like, what the fuck? He's just here in LA with nobody to fucking like help him out and go. Like he had nowhere to go. So he ended up in South Lake Tahoe. He had like family out there, so he kind of like made it there. Eventually, making his way back down to LA after getting in contact with my mom, and yeah, just a crazy fucking like hey like going from country to country looking for your spouse, bro, like your partner in life. So it's crazy, bro.
That's a crazy story, fool. It's a it's a crazy story, fool, but you know how common that is with our peoples?
Oh yeah, for
So
sure, bro.
common. It's a common story, it's a common theme within our gente, dog, where one partner comes over here, You feel me? Like my parents, like my pops, like he was over here. They had already met, but he brought her over here. You know what I'm saying? Like she moved over here because my dad was already over here. Like speaking of my
Simón.
mom. So it's like it's a recurring theme, dog. Like it's been common. I don't know how common it is now, but when we speak to our peoples, dog, like our older folks, that's one of the stories that kind of comes up a lot, right? Where one partner
Yeah,
comes to the States or they go to a different country and the other one follows or one of them brings them over. It's a it's very common, like we say, oh, it's crazy because obviously it is a crazy way to
yeah,
live, you know what I'm saying? But it's such a common theme and it's a common story within our own peoples that to us is like normal. So
Simón.
it's fucked up to say that it's normal, obviously, but that's just the way it is. That's just the way.
Bro, I agree, man. They're built different, bro. It was different times, like you said at the beginning of the podcast. They all grew up different. There's a lot more like I feel like I mean in a sense, like not to compare and shit, but I feel like they probably had it harder, in a sense, because like it was just like different like mentalities, you know what I mean? A lot more old school, very fucking I don't know, bro. It gets down to like a topic of not really like letting your emotions and shit kind of show, and you know what I'm saying? Like the men were like very like manly, and they had to be like a certain way, can't show like any sort of like fear or like sadness and stuff. It was a lot harsher, I feel like, you know what I mean? For them, I think in a sense, but obviously everybody's got their story, and shit they carry, but that like just hearing a lot of the stories, like you said, of all the like the older generation, they were just built different, bro. They just did things because they had to. It wasn't really like, oh shit, but if I do this, like kind of overthinking it. It was like, well, fuck, it's the only way.
Simon, I feel like they lived more on survival. It was all about survival and it was about fuck everything else. I gotta survive. You know what I'm saying? How do
Yeah.
you feel? Because this is a topic I've had a conversation with certain people about this. How um because they couldn't like quote unquote live out their dream, they sacrificed their dream to survive. Does that have anything to do with the way you live your life, or you're just like on survival mode too? I know it's a random question, but
No, no, that's a good question. I feel like it definitely plays a part. You know what I mean? Because it all comes down to like unhealed like traumas and shit. Like if you don't heal it or never really like make it a priority because you don't really have access to certain things, tools to kind of get you to get right. It's not that you're not like right like as far as like you don't handle your shit, but if you don't really know you're dealing with something, like you don't know what the hell you're dealing with, like there's no way to kind of like cure it. So if it just fucking gets left untreated, it's something that kind of like passes down from like
mm,
generation to generation, just like it could have came from their parents and so on and so forth, just onward like down the line. So yeah, I think it definitely played a part on how I live. Because a lot of like my shit, like when I was like growing up and stuff, was always kind of like thinking about, oh shit, what would my parents think, or all this stuff they sacrificed, like I can't let them down. This is the expectations they have of me. Like, how am I gonna let them down? How am I gonna do this? So you don't really like get to kind of live out your own shit, like in a sense,
mm,
unless you figure it out, and then you're like, oh wait. like their experiences aren't really mine. In a sense, they are, but not to the degree where you can't live your life. Like, you know?
I do believe that that is something that kind of affects our community, at least for first generation Latinos in the country. I don't know. I can't speak for like second and third generation, but I feel like sometimes we do things because we feel like we have to do that for our parents.
Yeah.
And sometimes we have to sacrifice our dream in order to just become stable enough because not only do we have to take care of ourselves and the family we create, but we also have to make sure that our, our parents and, our siblings are cool as well. You know what I'm saying? Like obviously they're putting their own part in the equation, but I do feel like that is something that some a lot of us as first gen, we're kind of cursed with that, where we have to like almost think of other people before we think of ourselves. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah, yeah.
I think the perfect example, I could only speak for myself. I look at my pops, and in Mexico, soccer's big. It's a big thing. Everybody plays soccer. I mean, not everybody, but there's a big population of the men who play soccer. Now there's obviously, like, as time has evolved, there's a lot of women who play soccer now, but back in the day, that was the dream for my dad, a lot of my tios, to make it
Mm,
in the league. And my dad was good, right? Like my dad was he was solid. And I had a tio who was like real fucking good.
right,
But you hear it over and over and over again where it's like, nah, we had to give that up because it didn't pay enough or didn't pay at all. And it wasn't um what was required of them at that time. They needed to make money to pay the bills. And then when they came over, I remember there's a story. My mom said that my dad stopped playing because they used to go to these different parks out here in South Central to go play, right? But they said that the moment my brother was born, he stopped doing that. And he kind of was just like, nah, I'm gonna become a family man. That dream is never gonna, is never gonna be fulfilled.
right,
And so now, as an adult, for a long time I did have that belief where it's like, I gotta go to college. Like I have to do this for my parents. You feel me? And it obviously affected the way I looked at my own dream. Luckily for me, now I'm in a position where I am following my dream without like needing to be validated from my parents because I explained it to them like this is what I want to do and this I did this because of y'all and I don't want to do that anymore. I'm doing this because of me now.
right.
Where do you feel you as a person now? Do you feel like you did a lot of things because of your parents, or how is that affected your life? Or is like because you do music, you feel me?
Yeah.
What about you? How does that affect you in your life and you chasing your dreams?
I mean, it's played a big part of it, because it's affected it like to the sense like I always had that in the back of my mind. It's always like, like in a sense I didn't know, like I used to love playing soccer. Don't get me wrong, but growing up and shit, like there's a lot of things that I kind of like had like you said in the back of my mind like that, where it's just like you're constantly thinking of like, oh, like for my parents, like because you love them, you want to make them proud, but you don't understand that as a kid, like damn, like you got to be your own person, like in our case we got to be our own man, we got to figure shit out and have our own experiences and learn through shit, but if we constantly want to keep doing shit like I kept fucking up in school all the time, bro, because I always wanted to do it for them, and it's not because I didn't love them enough that I didn't do it. It's just that I was constantly battling with something that was like inside of me telling me like, nah, bro, like this ain't you, like your inner voice is always telling you like this is what you wake up and think about every fucking day. This is what you really want to fucking aspire to be, or like or like in our case, we're like artists, like so you're always thinking in like an artistic way, but like for my pops, for example, like he was really good too. He used to play like in a lot of leagues and stuff over there, and he kind of didn't have his pops to, like take him to games and shit like that. So he kind of like had something to prove for himself, and he would get like good teams to take him in and pay for his shit, and stuff like that. But he just didn't have that chance to like try to really go for it or never even thought about it, I guess, in a sense, because again, he came out here, trying to look for my mom and, start a family, the responsibility aspect. And for me growing up, hearing my dad like tell me these stories and shit like that, I always kind of had that chip on my shoulder too. Cause hey, man, hey, you're really good, like I started like playing soccer and like I was just naturally good at it. So then the pressure started coming, probably indirectly, but more like in a sense, maybe he got excited. He's like, damn, this was good. And me and all my brothers, we used to ball, so but there was always that pressure. And eventually, when I got older, that pressure like became something that I didn't fuck with, but I didn't know how to deal with it. So
Mm.
it kind of like killed off like my self-esteem along the way, because I was confused as fuck, bro. I didn't really know how to handle all that shit. Um yeah, and it was hard, bro. I mean, and like you said, like in a sense, we all kind of go through something similar, being like first generation, like, born out here, Mexican American and shit. But that's always played a fucking part, especially when I started doing music, like around like 15, 16 years old. It was me and one of my boys that I was growing up with out there from Nevada. He was like, "Hey, we should start up a rap group, this and that, blah blah blah." And I really started kind of running with this shit, bro. Like, I was ready to fucking take it to where it has to go. But I didn't know how to tell my dad, like, like, "Hey, bro, like,
I'm a
I
rapper.
don't, yeah, I'm a rapper, fool," because when
Yeah.
I did, there was like kind of like this shit, like, they just brushed it off, like, man, like, fuck you doing rapping and shit, bro. Like, you're good at soccer, you're good at this, like,
Mm.
go to school. And all that shit just kind of like, again, it was just like a tug of war, just pulling back between like my own power and then like trying to do shit like for them.
Simón.
But definitely affected me in a sense, to a point where it kind of molded me. Like a
Mm.
lot of shit that I went through, due to that was like shit that I had to really work at, for a long time that I don't even think I healed until like recently, bro. I was probably like 30 years old
Mm.
when I really felt like I was like, hey man, I closed that chapter. It's done. It's crazy, bro. A lot of shit that went with it for sure.
I feel like that's why people pleasing affects a lot of people, not just like Latinos, but a lot of people because we feel this pressure, dog, from our parents and from all these other adults to tell us one thing when we know, like, yeah, we might be good at this, and everybody's like, do this, do this, do that. And you want that love, dog, like, cause you associate that with love and everything, and then but you want to do this over here, and you're not getting any fucking love, and everybody's telling you like, nah, fool, like you shouldn't do this and that. So I feel like there's a decision that a lot of us do at some point where it's like, do we do what everybody else wants us to do because that's where the love is at? Or do we do our own thing when we know it's gonna be the lonely road and everybody over here is telling us like, nah, you shouldn't do that. But I mean, with me it wasn't soccer, dog. With me it was going to school, working with the youth and doing the whole educational thing to it. I feel like I was just blessed because I was the youngest, so I had a lot more independence and a lot more leeway when it came to chasing my dream, as opposed to my older brother. But that comes from, I guess, him being the first one, and then with me it was always like when you have the whole school and multiple schools telling my mom, and then she would tell my dad like, oh, I think your son has a possibility to do great things if he continues to go to college. I never asked my dad, was like, did you ever have dreams, for us? Like,
Yeah.
cause I never got to play sports, you feel me? But who knows, like maybe in his heart, he wanted us to play soccer. Cause obviously there's a lot of parents who live through their kids.
Yeah.
Did you ever feel that? Like when it came down to your soccer years, did you ever feel like your dad put too much pressure on you because he was trying to like kind of like living through you?
Oh hell yeah, bro. A lot, bro. And I love my dad, bro. I love my mom and my dad, bro, like tremendously, bro. But yeah, I always felt that shit and I didn't understand it. There was that pressure of like, nah, because my dad was good and like he's going to my soccer game, so like I have no excuse, because I would just constantly hear that shit. Like, well, my dad didn't, go to my games, but like I'm always at your guys' games.
Mm.
And then you guys play like shit, like, sometimes like what the fuck, like it's like, damn, bro, he's right. I'm fucking up. Like, it was just, yeah, bro. I don't know. the fun out of soccer stopped happening probably right around like 10, 11 years old, dog.
Mm,
Um, but I mean, I was still decent at the time. I was just like really losing fucking what is it, confidence, like,
mm.
and fast too, because you know what I mean. Like, I was going up against kids that were like in fucking what do you call that shit, like academies and stuff like that. You know what I mean? And we didn't have money like that. There was like a situation where I was like on a team, and that team like turned into an academy, but there was some falling out between like the coach and like my uncle or something like that, and then my dad like took me out, to kind of have his back and shit, and it's a
Oh
scenario
shit.
where like I think about it and I'm like, God damn, bro, that's kind of fucked up. But like I'm sure he didn't do that shit on purpose, and I've had that conversation with him, but he didn't do that shit on purpose to be like, yeah, let me take this foot out of a good possibility, where he's gonna learn a lot, and then start putting him into like random little teams because he's good. He's gonna help out these teams that really aren't that good. Well, me doing that, bro, and kind of having to dumb down my game, like really forced me to fucking, I guess like dumb it down, and then me doing that fucking caused my confidence to just
Mm,
like I wasn't really like a very competitive kid. I just like
yeah.
to play. I like to
Mm.
play, and I was always trying to be friendly with everybody and shit. But that's what bites you in the ass, dog. If you're trying to play competitive sports, you know,
Too
everybody's out to
nice.
get you.
Yeah. Last question about soccer, and this is you. I need you to be as real as you can with me, dog. Because sometimes our egos don't let us get in the way.
No, I got you, bro. What's up?
How good were you, dog? And do you feel like you could have made it somewhere?
With the right like mentorship and like the right fucking like I just having money and like opportunities, I think I could have done it, bro. Um, Again, I didn't have a lot of confidence, right? But the times that I would play like with confidence and just kind of be free, like I was pretty damn good, bro. I remember like my freshman year trying out for the soccer team in high school, right? Mind you, there's not really like much other than like one or two high schools in that place, but only one high school that had a team where I grew up, bro, in Carson City, Nevada. Um, it was a situation where like I was never really playing competitive like that, right? And a lot of these kids were, bro. And mind you, I come in, I'm like the short ass little kid, bro. Like one of the two shortest kids, and I was a little bit shorter than the other shortest fool.
That's crazy.
And I went in there and I sauced up their fucking varsity defenders, bro. I made
Mm.
them fools look goofy, like. But the thing is, like, my height, like, these fools are like, damn, he doesn't really know how to play like with body and shit, like he's not like tall or strong, So we don't want this fool to get hurt. We're gonna keep him in, JV for a fucking for like a year, just to see kind of how he develops. And I don't know, bro, just playing in that environment, like. I just wasn't cut out for it, bro. I didn't have the confidence for it, bro. Like the minute I kind of started going in there when everyone's just hungry, trying to like go up, like it was not fun anymore. And when I wasn't having fun, that shit just fucked me up. I mean, but everybody's gonna say, hey, I could have made it, this and that, You hear that shit a lot. But I think under the right mentorship, like having the right tools and shit, like skill wise, I think I could have made it for sure, bro.
I'll tell you, sometimes our ego don't, so it kind of blinds us to
Hmm.
the reality. You feel me? Sometimes we gotta be honest with ourselves and be like, look, for you're great, but there's fools out there who are
Like
cut out for
fucking
it. Yeah, they're
ballers,
like they're
yeah.
ballers, dog. They're ballers. So thank
But
you
the
for
fools
being
that,
honest because
yeah, for sure.
it's hard fool to be
It
honest
is
with
for
ourselves.
sure. Trust me, dog. I dealt with that shit for years, bro, in my head. But yeah, it really I think comes down to like if you have the fucking like the resources and the mentorship, bro.
Mm.
Because the ones that you do see that make it, like they all had that shit, for the most part. There's some that come out of like nothing, but I mean that's like one in like what, like a million or some shit. Like,
It's a crazy
but yeah.
statistic, yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, no, honestly, bro, a lot of ballers out there, man. Where I grew up, a lot of ballers, bro. I just feel like there wasn't like enough opportunity there, So a lot of people didn't like. Well, I don't really know anyone that went and made it. You know what I'm saying? But I know there's like ballers out there that could have made it, bro. Like it just comes down to resources, bro. And that's the shitty part.
Well, you hear that all the time, right? Like the best fools are never the ones that make it. It's always the ones with the best resources and now network,
Yeah.
right? So and resources, we talking about money, we're talking about opportunities and schools and all that, mentors and all that. But yeah, that could have, your path could have been a lot different. You feel me? Your life
Yeah,
path could have been a lot different, but no se hizo. It wasn't meant to be.
it wasn't, bro. All your experiences make you who you are, and like you have to
Exactly.
just like wear that shit for and then roll with it, bro. Because
Mhm.
we constantly adapt and then change every single day, you know.
Yeah. But to go back on the whole thing about family, I know we kind of went sidetracked on this whole conversation, which was beautiful, by the way. I love these sidetrack conversations. But to go back to the whole family and to establish the foundation to your story. Jalisco, your parents moved over here in the 80s, right? LA, fucking grimy dog in the 80s, straight.
Fuck yeah,
Different world, different fucking world. If you're a Latino and you lived in a certain area, you say your family moved to West LA, right?
yeah.
They landed in West
So
LA?
yeah, we landed out here. Well, mid city, we know where like over like La Cienega, Cadillac area.
Okay, okay, okay.
And then also like Spalding, Adams and shit, like that whole little area right there.
Mm,
So that's where they stayed at. It's pretty much there. It's all like this little mid city part right here.
for sure. You were born, what year were you born?
91.
Okay, so you were born in 91 and you're in that area still, correct?
Yeah.
How was your childhood, elementary school, in school and outside of school?
Outside of school, so I didn't get to go to elementary out here. I left like
Okay.
super young. So,
Órale.
I basically I made it to the Carson City, Nevada in 94.
Okay,
So
okay.
I was like 3 years old, bro.
For sure.
Fucking fresh out of fucking coming back from Mexico because we left LA, went to Mexico for a few months, and then we came back to the States, and then ended up in Carson City. Because by the time we showed up out here, I think, well, from what I've talked to my parents and shit, they said the apartment that we had at the time, they left it with one of my uncles,
Mm.
and then he dipped out and he moved over to Highland Park. So after they moved out there and shit, and they came back and they're like, "Well, we don't really have the apartment no more. Don't really have a place to stay." Like my dad's like, "Hey, I have family, out in Carson City," because again, he made it out to South Lake Tahoe before he ended up coming back to LA for my mom, right? So he had already known that whole area and shit, and he pretty much got us to go out there on the promise that like family and friends were gonna hook us up. They're gonna do a zapato and kind of like help us establish ourselves.
The dream?
Yeah, they sold us the dream, bro, and got
Yeah.
there, and then it's like, whoever they were staying with, apparently they didn't even fucking know they were gonna stay there long term. They thought they were just visiting for like a week or some shit.
Oh shit.
Then eventually we're like, hey, so when y'all heading back, And like, what do you mean? Like, no one told you shit. Like, like
Yeah.
we're just mooching,
Oh,
bro. Like,
that's
goddamn.
crazy.
Yeah. So, I mean, growing up in elementary, did you say middle school too, or just elementary?
No, we'll talk about elementary school real quick.
Órale. Elementary was kind of weird for me, bro. You're obviously like first discovering yourself, like when you first go in, kind of like what little groups you fit into and shit like that, like everyone's just trying to figure things out. I would say up until like maybe like third grade, elementary was like really good for me. I feel like I had a good time, had a lot of cool little friends and shit. I was just always trying to be everybody's friend, bro. I wasn't trying to be like no problematic ass little kid. I just wanted to be cool with everybody. So I had a lot of like friends, and right around like half of third grade, bro, is when we ended up moving. Well, they moved me to a different school because we ended up moving to like what like the house that my parents have out there at that time. So like once we moved in there, we went to like a new school district. That shit was kind of like a little culture shock for me, even though it was the same fucking town. Like, you know, like I just didn't understand it because no one ever told me we were like this was gonna happen. It was like one day I was in class and then they called me in. And, yeah, they called me in. They're like, "Hey, your mom's here for you." And then I'm like, "What? What's she here to do? Like she's here to pick me up. Like, what are we doing?" She's like, "Oh yeah, this is your last day here. Say bye to all your friends. Like you're gonna move to a different school." I'm like, "Huh?"
That's what the fuck, dog?
I'm like, "What the fuck?" Yeah, I was like, "What the?" Yeah, so I was fucking bummed, bro. I ended up making friends, like at the new school and shit. But like at that point, again, I just kind of saw a lot of little shit. I was trying to be friendly with everybody, and I saw a lot of little like kids kind of getting picked on and shit.
Mm.
Like fools kind of like bullying fools and shit. And I was like, nah, that's fucked up. So let me hang out with these fools, let me try to make them feel good. Let me try to like, show them like there's cool people out there. And I don't know, bro. Eventually, I just started kind of becoming like one of them, like in a sense. I got all nerdy and shit. Started
Yeah.
really getting into like Pokemon. Well, I was kind of already into that shit, but I got into like a whole lot of like Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh, like all that shit, like. And that's where kind of like shit got weird once I hit like middle school and
Mm,
so forth and shit.
for sure. What about your life outside? I know you're moving a lot, right? A lot of like things are changing. You're still kind of confused, but how was your life at home like? You have any siblings? Do you have any consoles? I'm a big video game kind of person. You play any consoles? What was like the cartoons you were watching at the time?
Oh, good question. So yeah, I have three younger brothers. I'm the oldest. So basically, I mean, growing up, it was a lot of like, I don't know, like fucking watching Saturday morning cartoons and
Mm.
shit. You know what I mean? All the new episodes of Yu-Gi-Oh and like
Pokemon,
Beyblade and
yeah.
fucking Pokemon, all that shit, bro.
Jackie
I was, in,
Chan,
yeah, Jackie Chan Adventures was the
yeah,
shit,
yeah.
dog. I fucking love that show. Yeah, all that stuff, bro. All the Nickelodeons, the Cartoon Networks and shit. We pretty much like watched a lot of cartoons. Any chance we had, we buy some cards or Beyblades and stuff. And even though I was older than my brothers, I was always playing a lot like video games with them and shit. Mind you, these fools were better than me at video games.
Yeah.
I was never that great at them, but yeah, but we had fun, bro. We'd play FIFA and all kinds of shit. So it was dope having those fools around, bro. I feel like if I didn't have any siblings, bro, damn, life would have been so much sadder than I thought it was, at the time. But having these fools was like a blessing, bro. Like,
So then you make it to middle school,
mhm.
right? How was your life like in middle school?
Middle school was really weird for me, bro, because that's when like I don't know, bro. Just from talking to people, that's where shit kind of gets weird. It's like a really weird stage. Like nobody really knows themselves like to that degree, and you're trying to kind of figure out where you fit in and shit. Um, and it is just kind of like a situation where I was a skateboarder. I played sports, I played fucking, like backyard baseball and fucking soccer and all kinds of other little shit with the kids in the neighborhood. And then I go to school and there's all these little posses and shit, like where I went to school at, bro, it was very segregated, like fucking at the time I was going, it was very like the skaters, primarily like the white fools, you know what I'm saying? Every now and then they have like fucking some Latino fool that was a skater there because he was hella good or some shit. But
Yeah.
but it was primarily like Mexicans and whites were very like separated with that type of shit. There's a lot of racism going on there. Um to the point where like you would hear about like fools talking about, hey, we're gonna meet up at this fucking park and it's gonna be all the Mexicans versus all the fucking skaters, you know what I'm saying?
Race
Like
riots and shit?
yeah, I'm like, God damn, what the fuck is going on with y'all, dog? You guys
Yeah.
okay or what? But yeah, bro, it was just weird, man. Like middle school was very fucking weird. I guess I didn't really know like how to fucking maneuver through that shit. And I had like my friends, that I would kick it with, but again, we were kind of like sixth grade, I was kicking it with like the circle with like Yu-Gi-Oh and stuff like that. So I was nerdy, I was in band in sixth grade,
Mm.
playing the snare drum and shit. So yeah, bro, that didn't really go well with me and like the girls and shit, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So yeah, so obviously I was trying to be like a skater and shit, not to be cool, but just because I like to skate. But then it's like, oh, you can't be one of us, motherfucker. You're a fucking nerd, like. So it was just very weird, bro. I didn't know where the fuck to like fit in and shit.
Mm.
And I wasn't very at the time I wasn't very like secure, like very like confident. So I let a lot of shit kind of like put me down, bro. And shit that I thought about it for a long time and I'm like, oh, I wish I would have done this differently, blah blah. But it is what it is, like nowadays I'm a whole nother person and it's because of those experiences that I am the way that I am.
Mm.
It's
Yes, you
like
are.
but it was very weird, bro. Yeah, to say the least.
What about outside of school? What kind of music were you listening to at the time?
At the time, I was listening to so my first kind of like let's see, bro. Like I would say like elementary, bro, was kind of like that little boy band, the fucking stage with like
Okay.
Backstreet Boys and
Yeah,
NSYNC and all
yeah.
that shit. Like Britney Spears was popping at the time,
Disney
Fucking
Radio, like all this shit was big, fool.
yeah, yeah. That was I think like before middle school was that, and then once I got into middle school, bro, was where like I don't remember where the fuck I got this CD from, but I think it was one of my dad's homies that he used to work at some taller. He that fool gave me like a skateboard because he knew I like to like skate and shit. And I think he might have got this like Mac 10 CD from him,
Mm,
bro. Can't remember which one, bro, but the very first song I fucking heard was Nothing But a Cabbie Hit. And that
okay.
shit put me on, bro. I was like, God damn, this shit's sick. And from there, it was like listening to Ice Cube, Snoop Dogg, all kinds of different shit. I
The
had
West
heard
Coast
my,
shit, the West Coast shit, dog.
yeah, all the West Coast shit, bro. And then right around that time too is when Eminem kind of popped off.
Mm.
And I feel like I really kind of liked listening to his shit too, just because like even though he said a lot of like fucking crazy outlandish shit, like in a sense it kind of helped me like I was going through like emotions that I was like fucking sad, mad, fucking all kinds of shit, and just listening to shit like that fucking really helped me out. I don't know why. It was very fucking like soothing, just to like be able to hear shit, like that.
When Eminem blew up, I was still in elementary school. So I can't really say that I was like feeling like the lyrics and feeling the vibes of the song. I would listen to it because it was rap and it was hard, dog. And obviously
No.
when you hear fucking the beats, you're like, all right, for sure. But to
Mhm.
me, when I started becoming like a real like rap fan was 2003, 50 Cent, fool. Get rich or
Oh
die trying,
yeah.
And they kind of blew up around the same, not like the same time because Eminem came first and then 50 Cent right after,
Hmm.
right? With Dr. Dre helping them blow up. But yeah, it was a time, dog. It was a fucking time.
Fuck
It
yeah.
was a fucking time in the early 2000s and shit. You're my brother's age, so whatever my brother was listening to, I was listening to. Right, so we were, he was getting into like the West Coast stuff too, and so I was right there with them. So anything that you were listening to back in the day, I was probably listening to. I was born '95, so 2002, I was like in second grade.
Yeah, yeah,
So all the stuff that you were listening to, I was a little ass kid. So, but I
yeah.
could relate. I could relate to all that stuff.
Yeah.
Because
Well, like you said, your brother was listening to it, so you kind of
yeah,
already had that like dairy and shit. Like my pops wouldn't let me listen to rap, bro. He fucking was
mm,
like, "Hey, this shit's garbage, bro. You shouldn't be listening to this and that." Like, and I would fucking sneak little CDs and shit. Like I had a
yeah,
Walkman.
yeah,
I would be listening to, like I said, bro, Mac 10, Ice Cube, fucking Snoop Dogg. When I think the reason why I really fucked with Eminem too is because they kind of like played into all that shit. So when I got into all the West Coast stuff, right, and Dr. Dre was like doing a whole bunch of shit, the Chronic fucking came out, or 2001, came out, and this who fucking had Slim Shady on that shit, bro, like because he's the one that put him on, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So then he, and it's like fucking forgot about Dre, bro. Like that shit just
That
fucking
song, huh?
that shit just did it for me, bro. That bitch please too, like shit like that, like was like where I was like really fucking getting into like hip hop, bro. Um, and at the time, funny enough, one of my homies that I was cool with in seventh grade was like, "Hey, fool, we should start a rap group, dog. We should be rappers." And this was when like 50 Cent, G Unit, all that shit was popping off. And I was like, "Nah, bro, I gotta be a soccer player, dog." Like,
Yeah.
I even quit
Uh,
skating, dog, because I was like, no, my dad's right, fool. I'm gonna hurt myself. Like, I won't be able to play soccer. Like, I gotta stop skating, bro. Like,
uh,
it's all this shit, bro.
it's funny how everybody in seventh grade was like, "Hey, fool, we should start rapping, dog. We should start rapping." To me, that's probably like I can't really like pinpoint a certain time period. But it was around middle school when I started like thinking of like, damn, I should become a rapper, not knowing that in ninth grade going into 10th, like it would become a reality. You feel me? So I could relate right there when you're like, hey, fool, let's start a rap group. You're all fucking hyped up, everything's popping off, and which is funny because Eminem is from Michigan, he's from Detroit. 50 Cent, he's from New York. Right, the game hadn't even blown up yet. I feel like the only fool from the West Coast that was making noise, that was like fresh, not too fresh, but was Exhibit.
Oh, Exhibit was getting down, bro.
He was because Ice Cube had already had years. Mac 10 was he was a little bit more West Side Connection. There
West
it
Side
is.
Connection,
West Side
yeah.
Connection was popping, dog. West Side Connection, Exhibit. They were like probably like the two fools. Snoop Dogg obviously still doing his thing, but they had already been in the industry for years. I just like
Yeah.
talking about music because when you listen to somebody's when you listen to somebody's story and you ask them about music and they you go by the years and the artists that they were listening to at the time, you could kind of like understand a little bit of how they were thinking and how they viewed the world. So did listening to rap music kind of change the way you talk, change the way you dress? Said you made you stop skating. Any impacts that you feel like hip hop had on your life in middle school?
It just got me more into like a poetic, like fucking side of like me, you know, like I don't know, bro. Like I didn't really think about it at the time, but I was like, oh yeah, I'm good at math, I'm good at this, you know. But I was always told like, nah, fool, you're good at literature, you're good at English, you're good at
Mm.
fucking like, you know, like
Writing?
storytelling. Yeah, writing. I was always good at writing. And they're like, yeah, have you know, like early on in elementary, bro, like my teachers would always be like, hey, your son has like this fucking like he's like at this level of writing, you know, like I don't really see a lot. Like, so like you guys should really like nurture that shit, you know, like but I mean, who fucking knew how to, you know, how to like nurture it? It was just kind of like, hey, the homie's good at fucking writing, he's good at writing, you know. But I didn't think about ever becoming a rapper. Like I said, I even brushed it off in seventh grade. I was like, nah, bro, and I'm gonna play soccer.
Yeah.
And then fucking um wait, fuck, I kind of lost the train of thought. What did you ask originally?
Like, did you feel like hip hop impacted you in a way besides like the fact that you're listening to the music? But did you feel like did it impacted you the way you dressed, the way that you talked? Because for me, dog, I started dressing like all the Chicano rappers that I was listening to in middle school. You know, like
Yeah.
fucking Mr. Criminal, Mr. Capone. Like I
Uh-huh.
was deep into like Chicano rap.
Yeah.
And so I wanted to be a cholo in middle school. So I was listening to that,
Yeah.
changed the way I talked, changed the way I dressed, changed the way I thought about things. A lot more rebellious. You feel
Yeah.
like the people that you were listening to in middle school affected the way you lived your life?
Oh, absolutely, bro. Yeah, definitely. I mean, I didn't have too much of a leeway to like really dress how I wanted and shit like that because like my parents were a lot more like how do I put this shit? Like overprotective, very like you know, I was on a short leash, dog. Like so any little chance I fucking had at like self-expression and shit, well I would use it, you know, but it
Mm,
was very like you know, oh, I was dressing more kind of like a skater, you know.
mm,
I had like the skater shoes on and shit. You know, I was skateboarding at the time, but I was still trying to fucking sag my pants a little bit. You know what I
yeah,
mean? Like at that time, I still wasn't wearing hats because I wasn't allowed to. Like I couldn't cop a hat.
yeah.
But just little shit like that. You know, I remember rocking the little backpacks and shit with the fucking the little things that had like it was like a blind backpack. I remember I got, bro. My mom had got hurt like at her work, like she hurt her back and they gave her some feria, bro. And I appreciate the fuck out of her for this. But she ended up buying me like a new skateboard at the time and this backpack, you know what I mean? And I would carry my skateboard in between it because it had this little
Mhm.
compartment. And I was just rocking that shit, bro. I was like a big fucking skater at the time. I was even trying to fucking go like get sponsored and shit. Like that was like one
Oh
of my
shit.
dreams.
Oh, that's
Yeah, at the
dope.
time. But but yeah, I don't know, bro. It definitely influenced me. I wouldn't say too much in how I dress, other than the fact that like I would listen to that music when I was skating and shit, and that shit would pump me up. Trying to learn how to do like double kick flips and fucking
Yeah,
frame flips and shit.
yeah.
Like, um, but yeah, I mean, definitely the way I talk more than anything. That was probably what it influenced the most, for sure. How I was talking, you know what I mean? And
Slang words
then
and shit.
yeah, and then
A lot more slang.
yeah, because even though I didn't grow up in LA, but that was kind of like my I guess outlet in back into LA because we would like go back to visit and shit, But like my parents would always make it clear, like, oh yeah, you're from here, you were born out here, like this is where our family came from, before we came out here and shit. Um, they would always tell me stories and shit, so it was always kind of like my way that I would connect to like
Mm.
back to the West. So that shit kind of like got planted in my head like from early on, and yeah, I don't know that I guess that's a lot like a big reason that like why I am the way I am.
Hip hop, dog. It affects our life. Like for you, it's dope how you said that. How you say that like it was through music and through kind of like the hip hop culture because the stuff that you were listening to was from LA, and that was like your direct connection to out here because LA we were very proud people. from if you're from LA. Obviously, like I don't know how it is being from other. When I lived in Ohio, food like people would be like, "I'm from Cleveland, I'm from Cincy," but they were from the burbs, you know. No
Right, right.
disrespect to my peoples, but
Yeah,
like when you're from LA, dog, and you grew up out here, you have this like pride.
yeah,
I don't know what it is about having this fucking pride and shit. And to me, when I lived out there in Ohio, fool, it was my connection to LA was the hip hop culture, dog. It was the fucking the slang, the way of dressing, the music. I would be the only fool listening to a certain kind of music, like Dr. Dre, like Snoop Dogg. Like I that was like West Coast shit was my way of letting people know out there. Like,
yeah.
yeah, fool, I'm from fucking LA. That was popping, fool. You know, like that was my way of letting everybody know that yeah, I'm here, but I'm from over there. Now,
Simone, yeah,
obviously
yeah.
later, obviously I got the tattoos, whatever, but before that, that was my way. So I fuck with that shit. Um,
Yeah, I feel it, bro. 100%. Yeah, there's definitely a big fucking pride about it. You know what I mean? And like for like me, I didn't get to be born and raised, out here. Like when I was like in high school, like starting off high school, I was begging my parents to come let me fucking finish
yeah.
finish growing up out here, because my mom went to have me, my cousins went to have me. You know what I'm saying? I was trying to fucking keep that shit alive, and again, I was dealing with a whole bunch of shit that like I was like, bro, like I ain't trying to be here, you know what I'm saying? Like it's all this shit that I was like dealing with. I was trying to get the fuck out. I'm like, if I'm from over there, let me go and like, let me experience out there. Let me fucking make that a part of me. You know what I'm saying? So I was trying to finish growing up out there. But even now, bro, even the fact that I didn't get the chance to like come out here for high school and shit, it never left my fucking head, bro. Never left my heart, never left my soul, dog. It's like it's part of who I am, and that food, they'll always be like, ah, damn, Christian's that tramado food, like West LA, this and that, blah, blah, blah. But I mean, it is what it is, fam. That shit somehow or some way, bro. Like coming back full circle to come back to the same fucking building where we left from and shit,
Mm,
like dead ass. Like I'm looking at my wall right now, and across that way is the apartment where we used to live at.
mm.
So I'm like directly right next door to it.
Meant to be, dog.
Fucking
Full
yeah, it was
circle,
meant
fool. That's
meant to
dope.
be, bro. My daughter was born down the fucking street, you know what I'm saying? Like like my oldest was, she lived a year out in Carson where she was born, and she's been here ever since. So all she really knows is fucking, West LA. So it's kind of crazy, bro. I know I play a big part of that, but like to me, bro, that's like so fucking like satisfying. You know what I'm saying? I don't 'cause, again, it comes down to that whole shit like sometimes parents kind of live their dreams through their kids type shit. So but I don't try to push it too much on them, like as far as like that, I like because I want them to have their own like ideas, their own
Mm,
fucking, like I guess perspectives. But it's just awesome to see like my daughter in her first fucking 3 years of her life, like was everywhere and back in LA. She got to go to a Dodger game, fucking got
yeah.
to do all kinds of crazy shit. And she got to grow up with that culture that I always loved, that I was always trying to, like live a little bit, just to kind of like take it back to like my roots. And seeing them fucking experience that shit, like, I don't know, bro. It definitely fucking like fills my heart with a lot of like, I don't know, like fulfillment, like happiness.
You're healing your inner child, dog. That's what it
Yeah,
is.
big time, bro. It's
You're healing
crazy.
your inner child because that wanting to be from LA, dog, when you know you're from LA but you don't live in LA. I don't know how that feels like, but I've lived outside of LA for a couple years, and you just want to be there. You want to experience it, dog. Like, and you don't, and then now you get to do it as an adult. Like you're because that wanting doesn't go anywhere, dog. You
Right.
just kind of like suppress it because you're like, fuck it, fool, you go on autopilot and you kind of forget about those feelings. But now you're getting to do it with your daughters, your family. Um, but high school, let's take it back a little bit to high school, fool. Let's finish off this conversation of K through 12. High school, you're out there wanting to be over here. How was life like in high school?
Um, I feel like it just got more weird than like middle school.
Okay.
Because I think a big part of me when I was a kid was always kind of looking forward to high school. You know what I mean? Like, because I don't know if it's the same everywhere, but I remember we used to have like high schoolers come and like give us kind of like little presentations and shit. We were like in elementary school. And they would kind of be like our they would be like our TAs or some shit, or like kind of like our
Big brother, big
yeah,
sister, that kind of
right,
shit.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty much, they would just kind of like tell us like, hey, my mentee or whatever, he's into soccer, he does this is
Mm.
what he wants to be when he grows up, and they would kind of like talk to us about how high school was for them. So, and then obviously you get the agenda of like, like society and how they push like a big part of that high school shit, like through like movies and shit,
Yeah.
like all the American pies and all that shit like that.
The high school experience?
Yeah, yeah, the high school experience. So when I got there, bro, I guess I had like high expectations of like what I wanted it to be like, and just not really having the ability to kind of like be my own person, like be my own like kid and experience kid things, like um a lot of it was out of probably like confusion and fucking frustration and not really knowing how to gain my power to like to be my own person, and a lot of it was like my parents like really pressuring me and being like right on every fucking like tail that I was like on, um so it was just weird, bro. Like there was good times, in those times too, but like a lot of what I remember is always the feeling of fucking like depression, frustration, like wanting to just get the fuck out, Like I didn't have a lot of friends my age per se, all my homies were younger and shit. So
Mm.
like who I hung out with, like my main homies, like my main boys that I was like really cool with and shit, were all like a year or 2 years younger than me. So, like going through high school and shit, I appreciate them because we went through shit together, But I feel like even though I kind of told them what I was going through, I feel like I never really let it be known exactly to what degree, like I was really dealing with. So high school was that turning point in my life. I feel like that I was like, boo, I just fucking went like all the way fucking down to the ground, dog. And once you hit rock bottom, you either like you don't make it back up or you do, And I just there was no way I wasn't gonna make it back up out of that shit, bro.
Mm.
Like it was stuck in my head. Like there's no way I could let this be what it is, Like thinking at the time this was supposed to be the best years of my life and everything was just fucked. I was like, nah, bro, can't be like that. Life can't just stay that way, And that's where I really started this journey of like trying to figure myself out. I got really rebellious, bro, after high school. I'm like, sure, I did things like your guys' way, like talking to my parents kind of shit. Like, I did things your guys' way. Sure, I fucked it up. You know what I'm saying? Like, I didn't do good at it, but I tried to fucking get, keep you guys happy, and I didn't make you guys happy or myself. And then as far as like peers, and shit like that, like, sure, I try to keep it cool with everybody. I try to like fucking be like cool and shit with everyone else, but everyone had their own shit they're worrying about, So like no one really gave a fuck about you in that sense.
Mm.
Or at least I
Nobody
felt like no
does.
one. Yeah, they don't. They just care about their own shit.
Uh,
So once I realized that shit, that it was tough, but fuck, bro, I really climbed myself out of like some heavy shit, bro. So I was in some deep funk, bro. Like deep, 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 deep funk.
Well, if nobody ever told you, my boy, congrats on doing that shit, dog, because it's tough. Well, it's fucking tough, dog. So congrats on you. You might have been a lot younger than you are now. Now you're on a reflective stage when it comes to talking about this part of your life. But
Gosh, man.
like as man to man, dog, that's dope, fool. Proud of you, big dog. That's
Appreciate you,
very,
bro.
very that's very heartwarming, dog, and any fucking word you could throw out there for you feel me? Like I respect that shit. I respect it. But you talk about post college, right? I mean post high school. Did you ever think about college?
I did, but it wasn't really like because I wanted to go. I just, you know what I mean? Like I just didn't want to be the fuck up that didn't go to college.
Okay.
You know what I mean? After all the shit that my parents sacrificed, because like it really was a lot of shit that they sacrificed. But I just didn't know what the fuck I wanted to go to college for. Like I didn't really ever get into like studying like, hey, they have these programs and these, it was either like from what I understood at the time, and I know this is like super ignorant, but I was like, you're either like a doctor, a lawyer, like just traditional shit like that. I didn't know there was so many things like, oh, you can be like a communications major and somehow that branches off into blah 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 blah. Like I didn't know, I didn't think about it like that. So it's either you did that or you went to the army or you just didn't do shit. You like stayed back and worked and just didn't do shit with your life.
Mm.
But yeah, I didn't really ever plan to go to college per se, aside from trying to make my way back to fucking the west side over here and then trying to go to Santa Monica College. just
Okay.
to go to Santa Monica College, just because I
Yeah.
wanted to go to that college, That's where my cousin was going. So
Yeah. So you moved back to LA, or you finally was able to move back to LA after high school, correct?
not like right away. I did maybe for like it's tough, bro. My relationship with LA has been so like fucking on and off. Like I didn't figure out how to like stay out here until way later. But right after high school, I would say like 19 years old, or was it 21? It was right around like 19 or 20, bro. I ended up fucking coming out here to stay with my uncle in South Seasy. So basically, I yeah, yes sir, South Central. At the time when I came out here, bro, like I was like, this is it, bro. I'm never going back. I'm never hitting Carson City, blah blah blah. Like I was fucking bitter, bro. But when I showed up, bro, it was like completely like a like punch to the face, like I appreciate my uncle, like mad love for him. But when I showed up, it was like, hey, by the way, rules in the house, dog. You ain't gonna be rapping. You're gonna go to
Damn.
school. You're gonna go to school. You're gonna do this. It's basically like all over again, bro. It's like being back at my parents' house, and I'm like, damn, fool. Then what's the point of me leaving? Like. So like shortly, bro, it's probably like 3 weeks to like a month in, bro. I was like, nah, bro, this ain't it. Like I obviously can't make it out here by myself, or at least I didn't think I could at the time. So I ended up taking my ass back to Carson City, Nevada, dog. And I didn't hear the end of it for days, bro, because a lot of fools knew, I was trying to get the fuck out for days, and they'd be like, nah, fool, this and that, wooty woo. Like if it was me, dog, I would have stayed, blah 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 blah. All this shit that
Yeah.
if it was me, but like like fools claim they always fucking they would have done it different.
Uh,
And I was fucking like mad embarrassed, dog. I was like, God damn, dog. I really just did that shit. But ni modo, fool. Back to the drawing board.
I was embarrassed. That's
I
crazy,
was,
bro.
fool. I was like, back to the drawing board. Because you don't really think about like, oh shit, who is it coming from?
Yeah.
Like you just think this is what people are saying. And that's the way I thought. So damn, they're saying this, like it must be true. But at that time I didn't know, like, nah, bro, you're just gonna keep being persistent and you're gonna get your ass back, bro. Probably right around like it took me a lot longer because I got stuck in this little like party mode, like trying to like drink my feelings away, do drugs, to like
Rowdy.
yeah, I
Rowdy
was
shit, dog. Let's
I
get
was
it,
rowdy as
homie.
fuck, bro. Yeah, hell yeah. I was on that rowdy time. Um, Once I kind of like got out of that shit, like right at the end of it, it was probably I was like 25. That's when I made it back out here. And that's when I was like, okay, bro, you did your shit, you've been healing, like you're this far, like, even if you didn't get to like grow up, or finish growing up out there, like you're still gonna go do it. You're still gonna be chilling, doing your own experiences and shit, and fuck whatever everyone else says. Like I never felt Carson enough, even though I grew up out there, because I didn't feel like I didn't fit in with them.
Mm.
But I didn't feel LA enough, obviously, because I feel like I got that part of it like ripped away from me when I
Okay.
had the chance. And when I came out here, it was just completely different, bro. I really took charge of my own life. I fucking started like I got my own apartment, with my brother at the time before he came back out here, in Venice. And then I started meeting all my homies and shit. I worked at In-N-Out with my cousin, fucking, we were all out there doing fries and flipping burgers and shit. Um, but yeah, bro, I those was probably like those like 2 years before I did back to Nevada. For my girl, because I came back out here. I met her in Nevada. So I left LA again thinking I was never gonna leave, but I fell in love and I made my way back to Nevada for her.
How old were
Before
you
I
with
left,
this?
what happened?
How old were you when you fell in love?
When I fell in love, I was 27 or 28. I was 27, I think. Yeah, I was 27, bro. I met this girl, bro. I kid you not, we met on Instagram, bro. But like we knew each other from before, kind of like just based on like we knew
All
each other
right.
based on yeah,
So I slid in
based
the
on like
DMs. I
prior
was like, oh, this was a sick ass fool right here.
all fucking maldito dog. Just kidding. No, bro, honestly, it was kind of like cheesy and corny, but like we connected off of like how you brought up like what cartoons did you like watch and shit like that, like I met her and I met her based on that, like we
Mm.
like she had posted something like along those lines, like some little SpongeBob shit or some shit, and I was like, and I hit a little fucking quote from that show, and she like caught on to it, and I was like, oh shit, you watch SpongeBob too, like, and we just connected off of that.
Damn,
Um,
over SpongeBob. That's
over
crazy.
SpongeBob. I
That's
swear to
what's up.
God, dog.
That's what's up, dog.
I swear to God, dog. It was over
SpongeBob. That's funny.
Mr. It was a Mr. Krabs tattoo for like a little fucking Mr. Krabs like
Mm.
little fucking tattoo. And that's what started it, bro.
SpongeBob. That is funny as fuck. And so it was a comment, like you commented on her picture or the what was it?
I think it was a story. So she
Oh,
just posted like a little story, and I hadn't talked to her. Like we had been friends for a little while, like on Instagram, but we never talked. You know, that was like the first time. Like I had seen her story. Um, I don't know if I clicked on it or you know how you sometimes you're just like cruising through stories and like a different one pops up. You know,
yeah.
well that came up, and I'm like, whoa, who's this? You know, and like I was like, oh shit, that's funny. You know, so I just commented on it. I was like on some bored shit. And then from there we just started, you know, talking about like random fucking cartoons, bro, like the Rugrats and all kinds of like old school shit, you know? And that's honestly how me and her connected, but just being out here, I wanted to bring her out here, but I didn't want to like, you know, just coming from a background of Latino, you know, like Latino parents and shit. Like I didn't want to like bring her out here and do things the wrong way. So I was like, fuck. I was like, here I go again. I was like, you know
Back
what?
to Nevada.
Yeah, I was like, you know what? Yo sé el asunto. I know the onda out there. Let me head out over there. Let me meet your parents. Let me like, you know what I'm saying? Like this whole long distance shit, you know, like let's just get, you know, right to it. If we're gonna work out, we're gonna work out. If not, you know, I'll just bring my ass back to LA, you know? Because my mom was already out here
Mm.
at the time. Because when I left, they all came back out here too. So they basically stayed out here and I went over there and that's kind of how things played out, you know, like right before like um right before like my finding out, you know, we were having my oldest daughter right before COVID hit.
Mm.
That's how I got stuck another 3 years out there.
Okay. So
And then I made my way back.
you commented on her story, dog, over some SpongeBob stuff. You still haven't even like talked to her in person at this point, right?
At that point, I had seen her before, but like she's a little younger than I am, bro. Like so I'm 33, my girl's 28. So
Okay.
like I know por 5 años, right? So when I had seen her back then, you know what I mean? Like I had just seen her around town, but like she was younger, so I wasn't like trying to like get at her like that, you know? Um and now that I was like 27 at the time and she was 22, like I was like, oh, you know what? This girl's cute, you know, she looks good. Like, let me find out what she's about, you know? And I just shot a DM, bro. Swear to God, bro. I
And it
was never
worked.
into like the I was never into like the Tinders and the other shit. Like
Oh,
I just
okay.
fucking slid her a DM on fucking Instagram and that's that. That was that, bro.
It was destiny, dog. That's what it is, fool. That is what it the fuck it was. Over some SpongeBob. Like randoms, you know what I'm saying? Random shit. I like asking this question to all of my boys, dog, when they talk about their life and shit, because obviously their life partner, fool, is a big part of their life. You know, obviously you have two daughters now. But before we get into your to your life as a father, so you move back to Carson City, right? First date.
Mhm.
What was that? What was that like?
That shit was cool. I mean, we didn't do anything like too crazy. Like as far as like fancy ass dinners or nothing like that. She was just getting off work, and then she met up with me because I didn't have my car at the time. Um, wait, oh no, this was before I even moved. The first date we had, bro, I went to go visit because I went to go visit my fam back in Nevada. And then
Supposedly.
yeah, I went to go visit my fam, dog. But yeah, I found an excuse to just go out there and see her. We had been talking for a little bit, so I was like, you know what, like let's get to it. Let's let's get together. Let's see if we really fuck with each other. She came and picked me up at the time because I flew out there. I didn't have my car, so I flew out there. She came to pick me up after work, and then we went to Lake Tahoe, bro. We just went to go fucking do some more fucking little cheesy shit, stargaze and shit, just kind of get to know each other, talk about, like all the little cheesy shit, like
Well, it ain't
damn, I
cheesy, though.
could.
That's real, homie. That's real,
It
dog. You
is,
know,
yeah,
that
but
ain't
I
cheesy,
mean,
dog.
yeah, no, honestly, it was cool, bro. We just got to really know each other and shit like that, bro. And from there, like I just realized, like, I really do fuck with this girl like that, like she told me she felt the same, and she's like, what's gonna happen, like how are we gonna make it work, like long distance, and that just planted that fucking seed, and I was like, damn, dog, we got to do something, you know. And she was talking crazy, bro. She's talking about, you know what, I'm gonna head over to LA, this and that. You know, she's actually originally from San Fernando, so
Okay.
so she left to Carson when she was like 10,
Mm.
but she hadn't gone back to live aside from like visiting her family and shit, since then. And she's like, you know what, like I'll go back to LA, like I'll head out there, this and that, you know. And I'm like, whoa, 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 that's crazy. Like I don't even know your parents like that. Like, what if like shit does work out and like they hate me because I just fucking, you know, on some fucking malandro shit. Like this 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 fool from LA just come in and souped up our daughter and shit. Like, come on, dog.
Listen to hip hop and shit.
Huh? Fucking probably all fucking borracho and
Oh, I'm
shit.
banged out and everything. Nah, that's dope though, fool. That's very honorable, homie. That's very honorable. There's, some parents are still old school like that,
Yeah.
and they appreciate shit like that, fool. I'm pretty sure her parents appreciate it. Did they fuck with you though? That's the question.
Not at first, just
Here
cause
we go.
like,
Here we
yeah,
go.
not at first, cause you know how it is, bro. You know, you started to like kick it and shit. We were going out to like the bars and shit, you know. And
Mm.
yeah, I was bringing her home like super late and shit. Mind you, she's older, you know. She's like 22 at the time, but like no parent wants, you know, especially if like you see that your daughter's fucking getting serious with somebody, like all they fucking do is go and get drunk, you know. Like, damn, dog.
Malandro shit, dog. That is some straight rowdy
Straight,
shit, fool.
straight up, dog. I was like, I seem to have this like motto at the time, like, damn, here I go again, you know, like,
Here we go again. There it is.
fuck, bro. But yeah, her mom actually sat us down, bro. She's like, you know what? We're having this conversation. Like, she's like, look, I've been telling like, you know, Steph, like, we really don't fuck with you, you know, like you bring her home late. You guys are, you know, she's coming home drunk, like she wasn't like that, you know, blah blah blah. Like, and I'm like, damn, so this is me. I was like, fuck,
Te
it probably is, huh?
regañaron. That's crazy, dog. That is
Bro,
fucking wild.
they ripped me a new one, dog, but on some respectful shit. I was like, you know what? I was like, you got a point. Like, that's not the intention I have with her. Like,
Mm.
I don't know how that kind of like transponded to that, like to that, you know. Maybe we were just having fun and you know, shit just kind of like kept going, but like, you know what? That's not the impression I want to leave on y'all. So let me make it right. Let me show you that I'm really like serious with her. And at that point, that's when I made that decision, like, fucking, I'm moving, bro. Like I'm getting the fuck out of there. I'm going back. I'm making sure this is gonna work, you know, like and that's honestly like the start of like how I fucking, I don't know. I guess like I won them over, you know? I won them over with that. And they fucked with me ever since, bro. I got mad love for them too and shit. You know, they've always kept it cool. But it was real honest, bro. You know, like we don't fuck with you, bro. Like you're just you're just doing this and that, you know, and that shit that doesn't look good on you or her, you know, like so I was like, fuck, bro, here we go, you know?
Te regañaron. That's crazy, dog.
They let me have it, dog.
Oh shit. Hey, you gotta respect it, fool. When they tell you straight up, I don't fuck with you. That's respectable right there from, you know, your suegro and your suegra, right? Obviously, it was both of them, right? That sat you
Yeah.
down.
Well, nah, so I think it was just my swagger actually, bro. Like my suegro didn't sit me down. He was just, I don't know what he was doing. I think he might have been working at the time or some shit. But yeah, she sat me down, bro. And me on some respectful shit, you know, like shout out my mom and pops too, you know, they raised me real respectful. You know, I never been like a bad kid per se. I've just done a lot of rowdy shit, you
Because you could
know.
have walked into that conversation like, nah, fuck you, Lonya. Like, I'm gonna do what the fuck I want. Like you could have been real rebellious and shit with it. You feel me?
I'm sure that could have gone way south, bro, but it's just never been me, dog. Like I feel like for the most part I've always kind of been like very like receptive to like criticism and shit. Like I'm like,
Mm.
you know what? You know, you got a point. Like that's not the impression I want to make. Like this gotta get fixed and it will, you know, like and then from there it was just very like just serious, bro. Like, you know, like we still had fun, you know, but it was just more like, hey, if we say we're gonna do something, we're gonna be here at this time, you know, like she's not gonna come here all like shit faced, you know, like because of
Fucking
me and
blacked
shit, you
out,
know,
fool. Fucking
like yeah,
buzz
dog.
balls in the driveway type shit. Like on some rowdy shit.
I got wrong way.
That's dope though, fool. That's beautiful. That's a beautiful fucking story right there. And then you moved back to LA. What year was this?
This was 2021. So I went back to Nevada in 2018 and I came back 2021. So 3 years later,
Okay,
a little under 3 years later, I made my way back.
so you met her over there. They say your first daughter, right? She was born over
Yeah,
there. Okay.
Simone. Yeah, I actually wanted her to be born out here, and we were like making plans for it.
Mm.
But then COVID hit.
Okay. Okay.
So once COVID hit, it was like, you know, there's no moving. Like we're staying right here.
Yeah, it was
Um,
difficult. It was difficult time. Difficult time to move, though. I'm pretty sure.
Absolutely, dog. Yeah. So I mean, I definitely got stuck out there for another 3 years. Just doing our thing. I mean, it was cool, bro. Don't get me wrong. Like once I right, it was that was probably like right before my daughter was born is when I really like came to terms with a lot of shit.
Mm.
Um, I got into like a lot of soul searching, bro, and I finally like really, really, really like healed a lot of trauma. Like with my parents, like shout out my mom and pops, bro. I got mad love for them, bro. Always will. You know what I'm saying? Like I know they always try to do right by me. So once I really understood that shit, bro, like you know, it was way different, bro. So once I figured that shit out, bro, once I figured that shit out, that's when like things really started to change, like on my perspective on how I really wanted to go about life. I actually started rapping again right around that time too. Because I had quit like around 20 years old. I quit and then I started again like at 29, I think.
For sure.
That's when I picked it up again.
That's dope. We'll talk about the music stuff right now, but you have your first daughter, right? Now you're a fucking father, fool. You're probably at the perfect time because you now you're developed as a man. Now you're a lot more mature. I used to tell when I used to talk to my guests and ask this question, I used to use the word sacrifice. I don't want to use the word sacrifice. What was like maybe what was the one thing you changed or what changed, about your life personally when you became a father?
I feel like my mentality, I know that's very like that includes a lot, but like my mentality and how I viewed things and how like for the longest fucking time, my main goal was to try to get my ass back to like LA. And at this point now I had, like a small little person that was depending on me and depending on me to get my traumas and figure that shit out so I wouldn't pass it on to her. So that like lit a fucking fire like inside of me, bro. I decided like, nah, bro, I can't. There's no way, like before she was born, I had to figure it out. And I did, bro. And I made amends with like anybody that I had to make amends with, bro. Like, I had to figure that shit out. Like, figure it out. I made amends with myself, most importantly, forgiving myself for not being strong enough or courageous enough to whatever, take the necessary steps I needed
Mm.
to. Um, and that helped me kind of like get to a point where I was like, you know what, I'm ready for this shit. Like, even though I'm not fully financially there, even though I'm not fully whatever, like I'm ready for whatever's coming. And whatever happens, I'm gonna figure it out.
For
I'm
sure.
always gonna figure it out for her, for me, for our family, like and yeah, I guess that's what changed inside of me, bro. I feel like I became a man. Like I really at that point, even though I feel like I was a man before, like something just clicked in my head and I was like, nah, bro, like you're a man, like you're handling your shit, like.
For sure. What about any habits or any like hobbies that you had to give up because now
Um,
now you got to be even more responsible?
so at that point, dog, I was already really not smoking like years before that,
Mm.
to that degree. Because I was a big pothead for like a lot of years.
Straight grifo
Um,
ass fool, huh?
all fucking Greek out, dog. I was like, all like this is fucking
Eh,
nah. Yeah, bro. Honestly, like I just really fucking doubled down on like not doing like drugs and shit. Like that's what I really cut back, like doing stuff like no shrooms, no nothing, you know what I'm saying? Like no fucking coke, nothing, bro. I was like, I'm gonna clean my life up. I'm gonna make sure that, I'm a good example. Like I can lead by example. So um and it was a weird fucking thing too, because I know we're gonna get to the music part, but I started doing music around that time, right? So it was very like, damn, bro, like trying to do music, but like you're a dad first, like that shit always fucking was like it was a weird time for me to try to get back into that shit.
mm,
But yeah, as far as habits, bro, is like the drug use, the partying, all that shit. Just I did that shit, um, and then yeah, like the music kind of like always played a back burner. Like
These parts of the conversation, we sometimes we always focus on the stuff that we give up. What about things that you started doing? Now that you're a father, dog. You said obviously like eventually once they got older, you started going to the Dodger games and started, but like when she was a baby or right before she was born, what stuff that you started doing? You said music, right? But what other things that you started doing?
did I start doing
Yeah.
before she was born? I tried
Or
to
like
get
right at
back
the
into
beginning, or like right at the beginning.
I tried to get back into working out, and I did for a few months. I was like consistently getting back into it because when I stayed in Venice, like before like all this, I was part of like a calisthenics group, and we were like getting workouts. I was like fit as fuck at that time, bro. But I had lost sight of that, and then at that time I picked it up again. But it was easier to do that shit because it was like when COVID was around, like my daughter's a COVID baby, bro. She was born literally like on the 17th of March, bro, which
Mm,
is St. Patty's Day.
yeah.
And I think they closed everything. I think like on the 19th or some shit.
Yeah,
You
some
know what I
shit
mean?
like
Like,
that. Yeah.
yeah. So we were all fucking, like just like indoors. We were on lockdown and this and that. And I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna start, working out. Like, I would run to the park that was near our little apartment that we used to stay at over there. And I would hit the fucking like the pull-up bars and shit, start doing a bunch of like push-ups and like a whole bunch of shit, bro. Just doing calisthenics all over again. So that's one of the things that I started doing. And then I really doubled down, even though I like thought about like the music shit. That's where I really started writing my album. Like I had this album that I never put out called Growing Pains that spoke about like everything that I fucking ever felt like growing up and shit, like all the sad shit. But I didn't put it out because I healed from it. So I didn't want to like open up that can of worms and
Yeah. It's weird how
yeah.
that works. Weird how that fucking works. What about as a partner? Like what are some things that you and your well, she's your wife now, right?
She's my fiance, so we're not
Okay.
officially married.
Who cares?
But
But like
we are.
what about you and your what is something you and your wife started doing? Like
Yeah, I
terminology,
consider her my
wife,
wife. Yeah.
girl, fiance,
I know.
dog. Like
I consider her my wife, bro. Whenever I
okay,
talk to
yeah.
people, I always say it's my wife, bro. But what did we start doing? We were just trying to figure out how to be parents, bro. Like
Mhm.
as like simple as that sounds, because it was like such a big change. It was no longer just us two. We couldn't just go like on random little dates and stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like we had a baby with us now. We would take her with us like at every point in our life. Like it was like this like beautiful fucking little moment. Like oh man, look how tiny she is. Oh look what she's doing. Every little thing she would like her milestones. Oh my God, did you see her do this? Like we got really like connected like on some parenthood shit. I feel like as like a couple, might have lost sight a little bit of like the couple part because now like the baby, comes into play, but we like really connected on some parenthood shit. Like so we were like, doing that, even like bike rides and stuff. Once the baby got a little older, we would do like bike rides
Mhm.
together. We would go skate and then, like push a little stroller and shit, like rollerblade and stuff.
Yeah, that's dope.
So that was fun.
So then now you move back, right? Now she's a couple years older, your first daughter, right? You move back now, roots in West LA, back to this apartment, literally full circle moment. How far into the move did your second daughter come into play? Like when was she born?
She was born this year. So she was born in this year, Valentine's Day, bro. So she's a little Valentine's baby.
Mm.
And that shit was just crazy to me because there was a time when we weren't sure, like, hey, are we gonna stay? Are we gonna like what are we gonna do? You know what I'm saying? Like, and then the baby comes into play, bro, and it's like, oh shit, bro. Like, hey, my pops is the one that like mentioned he's like, you do realize, you're gonna have a kid like in the same apartment where you like we left from, bro. Like that ass we lived right here, and you're like right
Yeah.
next door to it. That's crazy, bro. I'm like, that really is fucking crazy. Like the fuck? Um, and yeah, dude, she's just been like, I don't know, bro. She's my little West LA baby.
Yeah.
She You know what I mean? Like I've really been wanting to like get around to like writing her song. I'm just trying to find like the right like way to approach that song because I don't want it to try to be like exactly like I did the one for my other daughter. Because it's just a different story, you know, different point in our lives. Um, but they're both beautiful in their own sense, you know. But yeah, I don't know, man. She came in to play like I said this year, so that's like 3 years later. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's 3 years in LA, dog. Way different. 3 years changed so, in 3 years, shit's changed so much, dog.
Yeah.
But now, like now that the pandemic's like over, your first daughter's a little older. Now you have your second daughter. How has that dynamic? Has it changed the way, the way your family approaches life, or is it just like, or now we got a second like daughter? Like, Well, how's that change? Did it change anything? Did it stay the same? Because this is a whole different person now, fool.
Yeah,
How's that?
it just kind of pushed me personally. It pushed me to like take another fucking step, like and make shit work even more. You know, like I was like, how the fuck are we gonna like figure this out and make sure that it works out for everybody? You know, um, or like when it comes to like daycare, things of that nature. You know, like like my mom helped a lot with like my first daughter. She was also working, you know, so we had to like work our schedules to try to like make sure everything was like, you know, to the T, like on the dot, like fucking like perfect, you know.
Mhm.
Um, and with the second one in play, I'm like, fuck, I don't know how we're gonna like start all over again and start doing all that shit, you know, like so I was like, nah, fuck that, bro, ni modo. Like, even though I didn't want to be like some corporate ass fool, you know, like,
Yeah.
I was like, I'm gonna take that jump, you know, I'm gonna go for like a fucking promotion at my job. I'm gonna try to like make sure we settle in, you know, try to keep my wife at home with the kids, you know, as much as possible, while we figure out like the next step, you know. But yeah, it definitely put me into a different perspective, even though like I was already on that, like trying to figure shit out like with my first daughter. Um, a lot has happened since then, you know, since she was born. I've grown a lot as a person. My wife has like we've all have, you know, like we've all kind of grown together and now I'm like, fuck it, you know, like if I didn't want to be corporate anymore, the way like as of right now, this is what it has to be.
Yeah.
And this is what I'm gonna do to try to make sure like everybody's fine. Everybody's good.
Respect, dog. Respect. That's some real fucking father shit right there.
Thank
Real
you.
respectable, dog. All props to you, my boy. I don't have fucking kids, fool, so I don't know. I don't know how that feels like. But I work with youth for the past 7 years, and I know what it's like to work with youth where they don't have, fathers and mothers present in life. And I know how that affects the youth in the negative way. So real real big props on you for that, my boy, because it's a big decision. You don't want to go corporate, but you have to do it. You
Mhm.
feel me? I fucking
Yeah. Until you figure
all
something else out,
props.
you
Yeah,
know.
all props for that shit, dog.
Gracias,
Last question before we get into the music. You just recently went to this trip to Europe, full free trip, right? All
güey.
expenses paid from your holiday. We're not gonna say where you work at, but how the fuck did you get that in the first place, and where'd you go?
So it pretty much came down to I'm in sales, right? So like if you hit a certain percentage of like you're in the top 1% or whatever, then you win that trip, you know what I mean? To the top 1%ers or whatever. If you're like in a specific other percentage, then you win like this other trip. But I don't know how this year played out, but it just happened to be, you know, it's just fucking meant to be. Um, they usually make you pick one or the other, right? Like if you won the top one, then you go on the top one, you don't get to go on the other one. Like you pretty much have to go on this one, right? Because this is like the one you got. Well, this time around, like our store, like we fucking hit number one in the country. So we got to go as a store to the top one. And because we made it as a store, then our individual performances let us go to the other one too.
Oh
So
shit!
yeah, so I got to go to Italy and I ended up taking my mom to that one. That was right after my daughter was born and my girl was recovering, so she couldn't go. right? And my mom, bro, she fucking loves like Italian culture, bro. And I was like, you know what? There's not another person I would take. Like I'm gonna take my mom, bro. It's like a dream of mine since I was a kid, like to take her somewhere, like to see things like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
that's
I ended
dope.
up taking her there, and that shit was sick, bro. The second one I got to go on was the Puerto Rico trip,
Mm.
and that one I finally took my wife with, with me, and that again, fucking beautiful, bro. I never been in like water, like tropical Caribbean water like that. You know what I'm saying? Shit was crazy, bro. Um, but yeah, it was dope, man. It was just all part of like the whole sales thing, and being like a top performer. So that like really opened up a door to be able to do stuff like that I just didn't have the money to just fucking drop like that. You know what I mean? And they did it all expense paid, everything, bro. It's crazy.
You don't get to go on these trips if you're a bad worker, right?
Nah,
So
nah, definitely not.
you're that's saying something. You feel me? You should be proud of that. Congrats on you for that one, my boy. Because not only as a store fool, like now you have to be like you have to have a solid team in order to hit that certain milestone as a team. So you great team player, I'm pretty sure. But even individually, dog, like that's props to you, dog. Like real, that's real honorable to be able, not only because you took your moms too, like on top of that, you took your moms. You could take your homies for you could take somebody else, but you
Mhm.
took your moms and shit. But uh to not only be rewarded for being a great team player, but to be rewarded as an individual, like that must have felt like the fucking world to you, fool.
That was crazy, bro. I like the whole year I wasn't even thinking about any of those trips, bro. I was just like all I could think about was hustling, hustling,
Mhm.
hustling, trying to make sure that my family's straight, bro. Like and try to figure shit out. And then at the end, bro, like right before my daughter's born, bro, like we're going to one of her checkups, and they're like, nah, bro, hey, we need you to answer this like meeting and this and that. I'm like, bro, I'm gonna look like a fucking deadbeat, like fucking
Hey,
husband, you know what I'm saying? Like this fool's fucking taking work calls. They're like, nah, fool, I swear to God, just like 10 seconds, bro. So I answer this call, and I'm like, make it quick, fool, because they're like, okay, everybody, you ready? They're like, all right, you guys, you're going to Italy. Like, ah, and we're like, what the fuck? Oh, we hit that shit. I was like, cool. Hey, I'll talk to y'all later though. Like, I gotta go. Like,
yeah, yeah,
like,
more important shit, dog.
yeah, dog. I was like, fuck, bro. I was like, congrats to us, dog. But I mean, like, you know what I mean? Like, don't bother me. I'm fucking, I'm doing this shit right here with my
Some
fam.
father shit, dog. I'm doing some
Yeah.
father shit. That's crazy. When did it hit though? Like when did it like after the checkup? You're like, oh shit, like I'm going to fucking, whatever.
At first it was kind of like, well, shit. I mean, I hit it, but I'm not gonna go. Like I'm like, what
Oh,
the fuck am I gonna do? Like if my girl can't go, I was like, hey, like I'm not gonna go without you. And then she's like, nah, bro, like, you deserve it. You worked so hard for it. Like, she's like, you should definitely go, and she's like, why don't you like take your mom or someone like, and I'm like, I was like, if I'm gonna take anyone, there's no one I'm gonna take other than my mom, like just because of like how much she loved Italy and like I knew that shit would have been so special for her, bro. And I'm like, but I feel bad, I can't just like leave you here, like it's like, no, honestly, dude. She's like, I'll be fine. I swear to God, I'll be fine. I'm like, nah, I feel so like, there's this like part of me that's always like, no, I can't do that. Like, I can't do that. I don't want to do that shit. Cause then if I go, like, what if people say like this or, like,
oh,
but I'm
okay.
like, nah, you know what? You're right. I am gonna take that trip. Please let me know how I can help in advance, like to make sure everything's like facilitated. Like, do you need like my pops, my brothers, like helping out, you know what I mean? Like we can make this work,
You made a whole
and we
plan.
did, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah, we planned it out. Yeah, and fucking um at the time, honestly, when did we go? It was like in March. Oh, para acabarla de chingar, bro. It was like the day of my daughter's birthday that we were leaving, bro. Like, and I was like, God damn, bro. I was like, look, I was like, I mean, I could take my daughter, as a birthday thing, but there's no way I could have taken her, bro. Once I went and did the trip, she wouldn't have made it, bro. Like it was just too much for like a little kid to
Mm,
to go through all the, having to go through these like dinners and the fucking sightseeing and shit. She just wouldn't have been able to do all that shit, dog.
so
But yeah, that they're like, nah, bro, que no te sientas mal, like just go handle it, like we'll take care of it down here. And yeah, that was crazy, bro. Crazy fucking. experience for sure, man. I never been to no Europe, never been to like Puerto Rico or anywhere outside of like Mexico and US, you know?
That's dope. That once in a lifetime opportunity right there, fool. Once in a lifetime opportunity. But let's get into the music, fool, because that's how we met each other, dog. That's what the started off all the connection. You started rapping. Let's take it from the moment you started rapping to now, fool. Like walk us through that whole story, for your whole journey with music.
This was my homie Hobby, that I grew up with. He's the one that got me into rapping like around sophomore year. There was just a lot of like little crews and groups that were like rapping and this and that, and everybody's like claiming to be the best or whatever. So we were like, nah, fuck that, like we'll make some shit, we'll make some real like music. Like my homie was from he's from Oakland. So he was like raised out there and shit, and then he fucking born and raised out there, and he came to Nevada like probably like in late elementary, but
Hmm.
he's the one that got me doing that shit, bro. So it was kind of like a little collab on some fucking, Northern Cali, fucking SoCal shit, and we came up with our own group. We started like having business meetings with my other homie who fucking who's a producer, and we're like, hey, you've been doing music for this amount of time, So that's my homie Vibe. Shout out to him too. He's like, you know what, we should all fucking do this collaboration, like you fools are like GMK, like the Grown Man Crew, whatever, you know what I'm saying? Like, and then we could be like GMK, collaborations with like E Audio Records and this and that, like, and we did it, bro. We did a couple of tracks on there that we thought were gold, and like in our little hearts, that shit was fucking gold. Um, and one of them was a diss track, bro. To like, mind you, one of my other homies, like my real good homie, bro, like my homie Bofo, he fucking was part of another group called the Rap Game Crew or some shit like that. And we, for some odd fucking reason, I don't know, we were kids, bro. We all started beefing it over some rap shit. Yeah,
Oh
dog.
shit! Was that a diss track?
I did, dog. Damn, I still remember too, because back then when I started rapping, I didn't really have a flow like that, I just felt like I wanted to tell a story, So I had started up saying some shit like what did I say? I was like born in LAC and raised in Carson City. Lately I've been what did I say? Lately I've been noticing too many pussies coming up to me. Like, bro,
Damn,
like saying
straight
like I was
dissing.
just
Uh,
dissing, bro. That shit was it was stupid, but it was like it was a cool time because it was just like everybody had like something to prove.
mm.
But yeah, that shit was crazy, bro. But I still have all those fucking like that's like the only music that survived from my old shit. Cause like my computer fucking got all fucked up and we did like a whole fucking the LimeWire days.
Of course, fool. Of course.
Yeah. So we did a whole fucking like a reset, factory reset. All my music gone, bro. I didn't back any of it up.
Damn,
Jack Gateway.
I'm in that same boat, dog. Memories.
Fuck.
Oh, by the time I fucked up my computer, it was FrostWire, but it was same shit, dog. You fuck up your computer, factory reset, dog. Fuck the virus, dog. You started from scratch.
Yup.
Sophomore year, though. You said sophomore year. What about what followed that after that?
Junior and like senior year, I was still like doing rap and shit. One of my other homies from South Lake Tahoe, which was like pretty much like 45 minutes from there. He ended up moving to Carson, and he was going to high school out there, and we kind of like linked up on some music shit, you know what I mean? Like back then was like a really big wave of like Northern Cali like type of music. And I was trying to like squeeze in that like LA shit, like even though I wasn't like living in LA at the time, but like hey, based on family history, you know what I'm saying? Like going back to visit and shit like that,
Yeah.
like I'm repping for LA, you know what I'm saying? So that's how I fucking got into like I ended up doing like this one song called like King of the Town, and there's one fool back then that we had like a like beef with, that we did have some like rap beef with. I remember at that time we had a class together, and this fool was like, "Hey, fool, I heard that shit you did over the summer, dog. That King of the Town shit, that shit is dope, dog. Like you really like developed your flow, that shit sounds cool, bro. You should keep it
Mm.
going." I'm like, respect, dog. Like that's what music, it causes it to have beef, but then it causes like to have respect, because I always fucked with his shit too, like as far as like his cadence and shit. So it was just like white fool that I went to school with. But yeah, he gave me props at that time, and I remember feeling good, like, oh yeah, dog, I'm really coming up, dog.
Hey, all it takes is one person for to say you're dope, and you feel like you're going to the moon after that, dog. You feel like
Yeah.
you're going to the fucking moon. Before we continue your music journey, did you already have your name at this time, Christian Rhymes, or did that come later?
That was later, bro.
What
I
were you
wanted to
going
keep
by?
it. At the time, I was going by the name Seasons. So like,
Seasons.
yeah, Seasons. So my homie Vibe, he actually gave me that name because basically when I would hop on tracks and shit, I could like hit any beat. Like I could hit whatever flow we needed to get on.
Mm,
He's like, damn fool, your style switch up like the seasons, dog. You're fucking. He's like, I'm gonna call you Seasons, bro. You can get on any beat.
that's
And then
dope.
I'm gonna run with it. That was my name. I didn't change it until way later, just because I wanted to start fresh, and
Okay.
then keep it like more true to like me. That's why I kept my name, and I just put rhymes.
Oh, for sure. Hold up. All right. So now you're later into your high school years, early 20s, fool. What was your time life with your music?
So at that time, I wasn't really like putting shit out like that. I was more like that. That's when I really hit like my pothead era, bro. It was like right after high school. And I was really into freestyling. Any fucking party, any wherever the fuck I went, kickback, like people would play beats, and I would just hop on a fucking freestyle, bro. Like I feel like I could just create a whole fucking song. I wish I would have recorded some of those shits, bro. I feel like I got down on some crazy fucking
Yeah,
like shit back in the day. It would have been nice to like record it and then just write it down,
yeah.
Um, but yeah, I just didn't care, bro. I was just getting lit every day, bro. It's faded.
Hey, that's how it be sometimes, though. That's how it be. Then you say you took a break though, right? Was this around this time or what? What's
It
up?
was it it was around that time. I was freestyling a lot, but I never wrote like again. I feel like there was this like little gap that we didn't really like touch on too much, but like growing up, it was a lot of little cliques and like groups and shit like that, and I feel like people really just fuck with their people, so like I didn't really have like a big group or a big group of friends like that, that could be like, hey, fuck with my homie shit, blah blah blah, like I didn't realize it at the time, but there was people like watching and like they fucked with my shit. I just didn't really know it like that, a lot of like my younger homies and shit.
And this before
That
social media blew up, right? Like this is still like early Facebook, MySpace days.
MySpace, yeah, MySpace was probably around that time, right around when maybe Facebook was about to take off. Yeah, it was because I was 19 when that shit was really popping off, like Facebook. But yeah, yeah, a lot of my younger homies like told me way later, like, hey, fool, you're the reason I got into rap.
Mm,
Like, I used to fucking listen to all your shit. I thought you were fucking dope, like, blah blah blah, woo woo. And I'm like, God damn, bro, I didn't feel like I had anybody really like listening to the shit I was saying,
yeah.
maybe because they couldn't relate or just because I didn't have like the story like there yet. I hadn't really lived like anything like crazy, so.
You were just in your
Um,
head, dog. You were just in your head. That's all it
that's
is.
literally all it was, dog.
Yeah, literally all it
Well,
is, fool.
just looking back at all that shit, it was literally mainly that, like that like your confidence comes from you in your head. So if you fucking constantly like telling yourself like some negative shit, well,
Mm,
there you go, dog. But yeah, that basically like I pretty much quit rapping because of that. Like I just felt like like what the fuck am I doing rapping? Like I don't belong in rap, I should be going to school, I should be doing this, like that's just not taking me nowhere. I'm not, at the time I'm like I'm not even in LA to really be like having like access to like studios and shit like that, like my cousins out there like know people that, got studios and blah 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 whoop de woo, and I can't even make it out there like to fucking, to fucking I guess make it happen, I was just in my head, bro. But but yeah, I stopped for a long time because the only thing I could focus on was like, well, I'm gonna get myself right. I'm gonna get my mental like balanced out, and then I'm gonna fucking finally make it back to LA, and I'm gonna do all the shit that I said I was gonna do, Um, and then once I came out here, the only thing I could think about was surviving,
yeah.
like paying my bills, fucking working out, staying fucking healthy, like. But yeah, it was just a lot of like lot of it was timing, bro. A lot
Mm.
of it was timing for sure.
During that little break, that gap in between your early 20s and late 20s, did you have that urge to rap though?
Always. Yeah, every time I hear beats and shit, I'd be like spitting some shit, like I stopped freestyling probably when I came out here just because I
Mm.
was like trying to like settle in, figure shit out. But once, I had like my crew, like my people that I would kick it with, like out in Venice and shit, like we had our little like group of friends and stuff. Like I would show them shit, here and there, and they'd be like, "Hey, fool, you're dope as fuck," and I'll be
Yeah.
like, "Oh yeah, I know how to rap." Like, goddamn. So that kind of like gave me like a little taste of it, like coming back. But once I came back to once I went back to Nevada, my homie Stilo, so he's been on songs with me, right? You've heard like Dreams and like a lot of other like
Yeah.
tracks that he's been on with me. He's the one that like one of the homies that was like, "Motherfucker, you were always dope. Like, I don't know why you stopped." And I'm like, "Hey, fool, you're right, dog." And one time he's like, "No, fuck that. I ain't gonna let you fucking just like stop." He's like, "I got this song that I want you to hop on. Here it is." You know what I'm saying? Like come up with some shit because I know you can come up with some dope shit. And we just fucking or like bouncing ideas off each other, just fucking, like this is what I'm gonna say, blah blah. I'm like, okay, cool. If you're coming in with that type of energy, like, then I'm gonna fucking do this, like, and that was like the start of like me wanting to fucking get back into
Mm.
it. That fool ended up getting me to open with him in one of the shows that he was opening for.
Oh shit.
And we released the track literally like up there. Like I was in the crowd. He's like, "Hey, yo, Christian, come up, dog." I'm like, boom, here I come, like fucking they gave me a microphone. They're like, "So this is some unreleased shit we're gonna get down on. Fucking this is called doing work." Boom, the homie fucking gets down on this shit, like, and then I drop my shit, bro. That was crazy, bro. Super last minute, but it was just like an adrenaline rush.
When you went to Carson City, did you ever tell your girl that you knew how to rap?
Yeah, I told her like I told her I was getting back into it. I don't know if she knew exactly what I meant by that, like that I could really like get down and fucking start doing shit. Um, but she's probably like, yeah, that's cool.
Oh, no te la creía, güey. Pues you're like, whatever, fool.
Probably.
Uh,
But she was always willing to like listen though, and then like once I started like showing her a couple of things, she's like, "Oh shit, you're dope. Why don't you do it?" That's what I really fucked with her a lot about. Like, I really fucked with her that she like always encouraged me to do shit. Like, well, why not?
mm,
Like, do it. You should totally do it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm like, oh shit, yeah, you're right. Why the fuck am I overthinking it?
yeah.
But yeah, that was the start of it. That whole doing work track, and then I made a song called like "Baby Girl" for my girl. And then yeah, from there it's just fucking. I just never stopped again. I just can't. Like I feel like it's always gonna be a part of me. I could be 80 years old, dog, and I'll still be probably writing about like my life experiences and all the new shit that I went through.
So then you say you started picking it up right around the time your daughter was about to be born. Now you're with your girl, fool. And then you move back, or you have plans. You're already rapping over there, right? You said you were rapping with Stilo. What about
Mhm.
releasing music? Were you releasing music on the DSPs or like on SoundCloud or YouTube?
Just SoundCloud. I started fucking around with SoundCloud a little bit. I didn't know how to like mix my own shit, to be
Mm.
honest with you. So it kind of like turned me off to like trying to like do it as much. But I think we had this conversation before, but like right around COVID, I got it was before my daughter was born. I ended up getting like a bunch of equipment. Um, oh no, it was when the stimmies hit. Yeah,
Yeah.
when the stimmies hit, I got
Oh yeah,
equipment.
we
That's when
did.
I
Yeah.
Yeah, that's when I really started fucking with it because I'm like, you know what? I'm not gonna wait for no one to like really like mix my music and do all this and that, because it's cool. I got a lot of like homies that like really know how to get down and this and that, but they're busy too. They're doing this, they're doing that. I was like, let me fucking figure this out. Let me hit YouTube and let me catch a fucking video on how to do shit on GarageBand. So that was the start of me trying to figure shit out, and I wasn't very good at it, but you gotta work at it until you are. But I released a bunch of little shit. Um, One of the songs I dropped on SoundCloud that I mixed first, and it wasn't done very well, but like it still sounded dope. It was called Queen of Angels, because that's the hospital I was born at, like
Mm.
off Vermont. It was Queen of Angels, Hollywood Presbyterian. Now it's just the Hollywood Presbyterian. Um, but yeah, that one, bro, I fucking shouted out like everybody, bro. Family, fucking homies, you know what I'm saying? Like from like West LA to like Venice to fucking, like a couple little fucking like spots that, like we're like all kind of like family oriented, like I shout out everything, bro. That's crazy. But that was a song I really fucked with. And that got me to like really like believe that I could like mix my own shit and I could figure out how to like really do my own stuff. You know what I mean?
Shimon. Say you worked on an album, right? When did the
Mhm.
idea of the album? We say you already had the idea, but when did it start becoming a real thing?
Probably right when I found out I was gonna have a baby. I was really trying to like do a lot of soul searching and shit. And I wrote it like I finished writing it. Not It didn't take me that long, I don't think, to write it. Um, it was just a matter of like getting like the feria to like lease the beats and do all this other shit. You know what I mean? Like, um, actually, I think it was right after my daughter was born. I probably it was either before or after, but I went to my homie's studio he had in like in Lake Tahoe, um and we recorded like my whole fucking album, bro, from start to
Mm.
finish. Like everything's recorded, like it's all there. You know what I'm saying? It's just by the time I was done like doing all that shit, like I was like done processing whatever I needed to process.
Yeah. They're already in a different mental space. You're just like, well, now what? Huh? You're probably like, now what, dog? Like, it's sometimes
Yeah.
even hard to listen to, like when you finally put all your painful on paper, dog, and you record it, and then you hear it, dog, and then you realize, like, fuck, like all I needed was to put it on paper, and that was it. Like everything else was extra.
You're like,
Well,
why did I do this shit earlier, fool?
huh?
Like
Like
what
what?
the fuck?
Everything else is extra. But then you released the album, right?
No, it's actually still unreleased. The only songs I released from it were Room 387. So that was
Okay.
the song I did for my daughter. And then what other song did I release from there? I don't think I did release another song, honestly. There's some that could be released that like don't really like touch on the fucking topic too much, but a lot of it was just kind of like how I felt about growing up. You know what I mean? Like where I grew up, like the people that did me wrong and shit like that. And what I'm saying? Like a lot of it was like people that I knew growing up, or and some of it was even like, oh, close family like fucked me over. Like I felt like, like when I was a kid, but like then I'm like, bro, like you're over that shit. Like, you've made amends with everybody, including your parents, like your uncle, like like people you went to school with and shit. Like, you don't need to touch on that shit no more, bro. Like for the most part, people you grew up with, no one gives a fuck. You know what I'm saying? Like, ain't no one gonna be like, oh damn, did you listen to Christian's new shit? And be like, damn, that fool had a point. Like, hey, my bad, fool. I'm sorry I was like this, Like, no
Uh,
one's gonna fucking say that shit. And if they did, cool, but like I just realized I didn't need that fucking apology, I didn't need that sorry, Like I knew I could be like my own fucking man and handle my own shit and just like walk with my head held up high without all that shit.
Release a dog. Who cares? Fuck it. Why not, dog?
Mhm. I mainly didn't release it, and the reason why was because I didn't want to put my parents through that shit all over again. It was just mainly my parents and
Nah, I
like,
get it.
you know
I'm
what
just
I'm
fucking with you, though. As an artist, though, you're just like fuck it,
saying?
fool. Drop it, fool. Drop it.
No,
Who?
I don't take that any way like fucking like badly. I do see your point, and I've had plenty of people tell me the same shit. I just didn't want to open up that can of
I
worms,
get it.
because
Yeah.
I just had that type of fucking like resentment for a long time that I was like, nah, bro, like my parents ripped that opportunity I had to like get away from here, and they didn't even realize like what I was going through at the time, and but whoop de woo, and my uncle fucking, when my parents finally decided they were gonna fucking let me go, my uncle came in and was like, nah, don't let that fool go, and just kind of like fucked it all up. I was like all fucking butthurt, bro. I was just like in my own fucking feelings. But yeah, that's the reason why I haven't released it, and I don't think I will is because of them. Because I
Mm.
like I love them, bro. They're my peoples.
Yeah.
I always had a lot of love and respect for my mom, my dad, my uncle, bro. They always meant to do right by me. And whether like their approach and all the shit that, how they handle shit, like I didn't always agree with. It doesn't take away from the fact that, like I can see that shit now, you know, I can see like why things were a certain way. And now as an adult, having those conversations with them and being able to close that chapter, like really fucking just made me not want to fucking go back down that road again.
Yeah, I get it. Dog. Don't trip, fool. Sometimes as an artist, you're like, you want to put it out, but there is a lot. I could agree with that shit. That sometimes you don't want to open up old wounds because, like I said, sometimes you just needed to put it on paper and that was it. And that was
Yeah.
it. And the recording and the finding a beat and all that was all extra out. That's just the artist in you, right? Creating something beautiful. But sometimes when it comes to pain, sometimes we just need to put it on paper, dog, and that's it. But I'm always gonna tell you to release it for. I'm always gonna be that fucking that whisper in your ear. But when it comes to making music, fool, what is that process like?
Usually I usually just pop in a beat, you know, just kind of go through like YouTube and shit, and like I'll get like recommended beats from certain producers that I like follow or something, or I'll listen to a type of beat, and then maybe the next recommended one, you know, kind of pops up, and as soon as I hear the beat that like I'm gonna write on, bro, like I don't know how to explain it, but I just know, I know this is the beat, like this shit's speaking to me, it's telling me like I already know what I want to say. Like it's almost like I kind of picture like a fucking, you know how like fools make like sculptures and shit, you know, like a
Yeah,
big ass like just marble, bro, just marble.
yeah,
And I already know what's inside. I just gotta fucking chip away.
Simon.
So I'll play the beat, just listen to that shit, fool. You know, like you see me, you know, like I being at your crib and shit, like recording like music and stuff, like hey, fool, just on the spot, do this. Like, all right, fuck it, fool, give me the beat. You know, just so
Understood, bro.
I listen to it over and over again, bro, and I'll just mumble shit. Like I get the cadence first,
Mm.
the cadence, and then once I kind of figure out the cadence, that's when I'll freestyle little bars, and then once I freestyle the bars, I'm like, damn, that's hard. All right, cool, I'm keeping it, and then let me write that down in my notes. Then the next one goes in until it just becomes whatever that song is, you know?
So we just worked on a song with Pobreza. Shout out to my boy called Los Angeles. It's in Spanish. The three of us, no hook. We have fucking reporteros as like the intro, the in between
Mhm.
verses. Like this is no hook. How did you approach writing that song? Because it's in Spanish and it's a grimy ass topic, fool. How did you approach writing that song?
I mean, shout out Pobreza, bro. Shout out to you, you know what I'm saying? Like you guys like fucking came together. We all like got this dope ass idea to do Los Angeles, bro. Like that shit's dope, bro. I fuck with that concept, bro. When Dutch told us that, bro, when Pobreza said that shit, he's like, hey, it's gonna be called Los Angeles, you know, like
Yeah.
grimy ass, like bad parts of LA, like type shit. Um, I approached that song, bro. I approached that song kind of like as a challenge, you know? Because again, you know, not being raised out here, you know, I didn't go through the exact stories like y'all went through, you know, like growing up out here, because you got to see it like firsthand since like being like super little, you know. I only caught little glimpses of it, you know, coming to visit and shit like that, you know, and family like history being out here, and you know stories that like my uncle would tell me and shit like that. You know what I mean? Like being out here when it was like popping in the 80s and shit. Um, you know, like everybody kind of goes through shit like that, like stories, you know, like our like where it's like, oh, you know, so and so, you know, like family member passed away, like got shot, you know, this and that, you know. So I took all that stuff, bro, all that stuff. I kind of just like was just like looking inward, bro. And when I spit that song, for me it was a challenge because it was supposed to be like spitting grimy shit about like the bad side of things, you know, like the bad LA. And for me, all my life, bro, I've thought nothing but good things about LA because
Hmm.
to me it's been like a fucking like it's been my dream. It's been like this utopia for me, you know, like LA is LA, bro. It's always gonna have a place in my heart, you know. And for me to have to get down and see all that shit, you know, like, well, I had to like think about it like differently. Like, okay, sure, like, you know, all the homelessness that we see out here, you know, all the grimy shit, like the fucking crime that goes on, you know. I mean, you feel it, you know, like when it's in the air, you know, you feel that shit get heavy, and you're like, you know, when it's like not a good time to be like out, you know what I mean? So I just took all those feelings, everything that I've seen, witnessed, you know, stories I've had, you know, like my uncles and them tell me and shit, and I put it together, bro. And I was like, fuck it, you know. That's why, like in that song, what did I say? I was like, pasados trágicos, oh no, I was like, bastante tráfico, pasados trágicos, La La Land, no todos mágicos, so ten cuidado. You know what I
Honestly,
mean?
that
Like,
might be my favorite line in that whole song, fool.
really,
La La
God, bro, that
Land,
shit.
like when you say La La Land, it was just like I was like, yeah, this was spinning some shit right here, dog. Yeah,
Dude, I was just thinking about like how they fucking made the like corny ass little movie like La La Land and shit like that. You know what I'm saying?
everybody
Like where
talks
you
about
don't,
LA like it's La La Land, dog,
yeah,
but it's
like it's
not.
La La Land, yeah, and it's fucking all this Hollywood shit. You know, like it's and it's like no, bro, it's really not just about that. You know, it's a lot of fucking tragic stories that people have gone through. You know what I'm saying? Like I've lost family members out here and shit. You know, so it's not fucking, it's not all pretty. You know. So yeah, that was for sure my favorite line I spit. I like when you say that Castillo, you know, Los Angeles is mi
Oh, el
castillo and
barrio es
shit.
mi
Like,
castillo.
oh yeah, Los Angeles, el barrio es mi castillo. Yeah, that shit
Yeah,
was fucking crazy.
to
Yeah,
me,
but
go ahead, go ahead.
oh no, no, I was just gonna say I just really fuck with that whole like I fuck with este like Pobresa's part and your part because it just fucking gave like a different perspective. Everyone gave a different perspective, you know? Like everyone touched on little shit, you know, here and there, and like a lot of it was like similar, but it was all fucking different in its own fucking like way, you know? You said
Yeah,
cholos y chacas, you know?
yeah.
That shit was fucking dope, dog. Like
For for me, that song was easy, and the Pobreza will say the same shit because we already grime life. You know, we already did a whole tape about like kind of the same, you know, like on that same wave, that same vibe. So for me, it was easy, dog. Like it was just another fucking day in the booth. Um, my favorite, I think, thing about outside of the music and the actual song was it was like the first time we were in a track. Um, it was it was dope to. I mean, it took a long ass time to put that song together. We recorded a whole
yeah,
music video and never dropped. For like, I just like the fact that we went through all this fucking like bullshit in our lives. Who we came together to do one song. We go through more bullshit. We finally get to mix it. We go through even more bullshit. Like, let's go do this fucking, film the music video. Right? The moment we
yeah,
finish filming the music video, full boom, we all start going through more bullshit. Like now, the music video never drops, dog. You know, to me,
fuck.
this is like the funniest shit because like that's the song. Fool. That's the song itself. It doesn't need a music video. It doesn't need anything. It's just there for like it will always be there. And I know this fool Pobreza gets tired. Fool. I know he got tired when we kept asking him some shit like, "Hey, fool, when did that? When you know like."
Yeah,
Um, but that's just like that's some that song took its toll. Fool. Like it took its toll. I remember one time like at some points it was like we were getting on your case because you wanted to mix it, you know, and sometimes you guys got on my case because I don't fucking want to do the music video, right? Like I didn't want to go out for like I was going through some shit. Like I didn't want to see you fools be like, nah, fool, let's
yeah,
do this. So we just got on each other's case. We got on this fool Pobresa's case and try to put everything else together. Like it was just like always I was always on some bullshit, but there was always some
it's,
bullshit following
it's always
more
something, dog.
bullshit. That was some shit. I like that song. I will forever have a soft spot for that song. But to go back to your music to finish off this conversation about your music journey, you have all the songs that you dropped on SoundCloud or your YouTube and your Spotify, your Apple Music, your DSPs. You do all these projects. What's next?
Right now, bro, honestly, I mean, I feel like music to me, like it was like kind of like I feel like it was my first love in a sense, right? Because even before I was doing music, like I felt like I just fell in love with fucking hip hop, bro. This shit was like a big part of me. Like it's always been a part of me. Um, but just being like a family man and like trying to figure shit out, you know, like trying to hold things down for like La Familia, you know, like to me it always comes second, you know, like even though like it's always been my dream, it's always been this, you know, that like it's always meant different little things in different stages of my life, but um. I feel like I've been working like recently, even though I haven't been putting out like a lot of shit. I think I showed you that one song on the way home one day, no? Where was it that we were at?
With
Este,
that Bellinger line?
oh, oh yeah, yeah, with the
Belly
Bellinger line.
bomb?
Yeah,
Yeah, the
we're coming
belly
back
bomb?
down. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Hell yeah. So we were coming back down from your homie's house, right? So from Soul Reels. And
Somewhere,
then
fool. Yeah, yeah. You
yeah, yeah,
showed me
yeah.
that
So
song with that belly bomb. I just remember the
yeah,
one line I remember, dog.
yeah, because I was telling you, it's just really old, dog. I don't know if I want to put it out because it was like very like outdated, you know, like because that was they don't play for the Dodgers. He hasn't for a
Yeah.
long time, you know.
Yeah.
But I remember how I felt like when I first made that shit. I just for me it's always been the mixing part. And that's back to Los Angeles. That's what got me, bro. Like I didn't know how to like mix it and make it sound like good. It was all this pressure with all this other shit going on, you know. Um, so it's always been like that for me, but. I'm gonna continue to make music no matter what. Like I just dropped that song. It's called Till We All On, you know? And that one was like I can't afford to be broke. I'm all bets like Mookie Betts. Dog I hit it past fence. Belly bomb till we on. So I'm next. Used to always work it out, but nah, I never did flex just you know what I mean? Like shit like that, you know? So I put it out, and then I have this other one that I'm working on. Well, it's already done actually. I sent this over to my homie Vibe, and he mixed this shit, bro. I shot him like a reference track, bro. But I basically I went up there, bro, and I had gone a couple of times and shit. You know, you sign up for the like the open mic, and if your name gets called, you hop on stage, show them a song or two, right? My name never got called until that fucking time, bro, and I was like, God damn, I'm not even really ready. Like,
Yeah.
this song is just like, oh man, fuck it. I'll show him this song because this song was like, to me is probably like one of my best shit that I've done. So I went up there and I just fucking improvised the fuck out of it. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? But I just didn't know what to do in like a certain fucking part of that song. And once I kind of like, I got a bunch of plugins, from Waves. I started fucking around with little effects and this and that. And I'm like, oh, this actually sounds hard. I'm gonna send this over to the homie because I showed him. He's like, this is fucking hard, bro. You got to put this out. He's like, send me the fucking stems, dog, and then I'll put the shit together, you know. So I was like, cool, bro. Fuck it. Shot it over, bro. Fucking paid this fool to, like get me right on the song, bro. And damn, dog, that shit came out. For me, it's probably my cleanest shit so far.
You said that now it's secondary in your life. What is the goal now? Now that it's secondary.
I mean, I feel like I just want to tell a story. That's mainly my thing, you know. A part of me just wants to reach out to like people, and I want them to be able to see like kind of like what my story is, whether they relate to it 100% or not, like as long as they kind of like see like, damn, this fool went through this or went through that, and this is like what he's doing now type shit, or whatever. Like I'm just a storyteller, bro. I like to fucking, since I was writing in elementary school, just a fucking storyteller, bro. I like to tell stories, bro. Yeah, and a big reason why I fuck with you and your music and shit, and your podcast, you just be fucking talking on
Telling
some real people
stories.
shit.
Telling
You telling
stories, dog.
stories, dog.
Yeah.
It's real people shit, dog. And there's nothing doper in my book, bro. Like my opinion, than people just connecting. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Like you're able to hear someone's story and shit. Like that's fucking dope, man. That people become that vulnerable to like, they're willing to be vulnerable and, this is my shit. That's respectable, bro. Very honorable, like you say.
Yeah. There it is, dog. Final question. And this has nothing to do with music, anything else. But since we're talking and about the future, my question to you is if you could talk to the future Christian Rhymes, what would you ask him?
Um, I guess I would just be like on some homie shit, bro. Like, damn, dog, what's up, food? Like, like what ended up happening with you, dog? Like, how's life? How are the kids? How's the wife? How's the family? You know what I'm saying? Like I would just want to know about my peoples, bro. Like, and what did you end up doing? Like, what's up with the music? Like shit like that. I would just want to like fucking have like that conversation, like where you at now, like mentally, like you
Mm,
know, like maybe what could you suggest? Like I know you obviously lived it already, but maybe down the line, right? I'm gonna experience certain shit. You don't have to tell me the whole cheat codes or nothing, but just like what would you recommend? Should I double down on this? Should I double down on that? Like what would you recommend? What do you regret? Like
yeah.
and I try to live my life with no regrets, make sure that there's no um like I always try to like fuck yeah, just live with no regrets, bro. But I would ask him that, like I would ask Christian Rhymes in the future, like do you regret anything? And more than likely, I would expect him to be like, nah,
Yeah.
like you handled your shit, little fool, like you did your thing. Um, and yeah, that's basically all I would really ask, bro. Just kind of ask like how people are doing, in the future. That, that's kind of like one thing I would really want to know.
Boom. Great. Great way to end the plática. Well, thank you again, my boy. I'm looking forward to see what's next in your story, dog. What's the next chapter? We're gonna connect. I know we're gonna work on some music. We've been talking
For
about
sure.
that for a long time, but it's gonna happen. Um,
It's a
but
must, dog. Hey, we gotta hit up your homie, bro. I want to work with that fool too, bro. He got some sick ass shit.
oh, my boy, Surreal.
Yeah, hell yeah.
We'll connect. We'll do something. We'll plan some stuff out. Um, but like I said, dog, thank you again for joining me in
Dude.
this plática. Come on, dog. Come on, doggy. Hey, shout out to my boy
Hell
Pobres Tacos, my boy Pobreza and his business, everybody else. Any final
yeah.
words?
I mean, thanks for the fucking plática, way. Honestly, it's always fucking dope, connecting with you and shit. Since we met, always hit it off, fucking, you're good people, so I appreciate you, dog, always being real and shit. Yeah, fucking, you inspire me, so I feel like as homies, bro, as you want to be surrounded by people that inspire you and make you want to, continue to fucking grow. So you're definitely one of those people for me. The homie Pobreza is another one. My homie Stilo. You know what I'm saying? Vibe, like all the people around me, bro. Even my brothers, my mom, my dad, bro. Straight hustling. You know what I'm saying? My wife, bro. Like all the shit I've seen her, go through and how she's growing and shit, bro. My daughters, like, I pretty much like without getting down the rabbit hole, bro. Just a lot of love, bro. I
Yeah.
wish you guys nothing but the best, man. But yeah, always gonna be love, bro. Got that O3 sticker right there and shit. You know what I'm saying?
Worldwide, baby, worldwide. But to wrap it up, thank you again, dog. And we'll we'll chop it up off screen. Send me the song, and then if you want to put the snippet, well, I'll put it. It's all fine. It's all cool with me. But other than that, if you're watching this on YouTube, don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, the notification bell so you know when I drop another video, when I go live. I'll see ya when I see ya. Don't forget to love yourself today, all right? Adios.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Al rato. Peace out.
Stepping out the door with some fresh 90s, the old whites, the drips nice. Yeah, I'm icy, but I don't wear eyes. Still a fool that looks fly. Got my button down on, let's get lost in the